But let me tell you this. I am no pervert.
Hello and welcome back to the only wrestling podcast that exclusively rebooks, reviews and reimagines the worst of wrestling's past. We are Better Call Creative, and as ever I am joined to my left, recording a 30-second love-in promo. It's Steve-O himself, it's Jack Chance.
Hello,
Jacko, yes. To my right, it's Captain Sam himself. And he's talking to you. It's Sam Chance.
Benny. Hello.
And I'm the embodiment of both Jimmy Snooker and Iron Sheik. I am your host, Ben Chance. And if that doesn't give you an idea, it probably won't, because you probably won't remember that bit. But we are looking at the sad demise of Vince McMahon. As an on-screen character, we're not talking about his demise just in life.
We're not at the court.
Not
reporting live.
You might call us as witnesses, though. Have you enjoyed any of this, Jack?
Well, bits that I probably shouldn't enjoy. I've enjoyed it, but that's about it. It's not great.
No, it's awful. Sam?
No, there's some bits that are very strange.
I think 2007 is one of the shittest wrestling years.
I think people do say it's one of the worst years for WWE in general.
They just look like them devoid of any sort of creative ideas.
TNA has got Russo, so they just went, nah.
We got no competition at all.
Let's go back for a year.
Well, even though the year of non-point, that's why the year of non-creative.
There was non-point.
Despite this podcast coming out at the end of May, the death of Vince McMahon took place on the 11th of June 2007, and for I think the third time in podcast history, arms around the world. We've got a unified number one. It's Umbrella by Rihanna.
Oh, that number one for all of 2007.
Well, it was preemptive of England's failure to qualify for the Euros.
It should have been Steve Biglow in the video. Get up, Steve.
Oh, poor old Steve McMahon. More on him in a moment or two. But the box office was dominated by the second offering of Pirates in the Caribbean, which is Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Well, never seen it.
Never watched any of it.
No, nor me at all. Well, that's it. There's nothing to say about that. Yes, Britain's Got Talent debuted 2 days before. Yeah, there was no talent in WWE. WWE has no talent, but Britain has lots.
No, we didn't. Not until then. Before then, we were a talentless country.
yeah. And then we found Pol Pot, or whatever his name was. Not Pol Pot. The Chinese dictator.
No, that's Pol Pot. The Cambodian dictator.
Yeah, I think it was Pol Pot. Sam, he's got a new podcast.
I know about Cambodia.
Big Brain Academy, which is quite apt for Sam's Cambodian reference there, was
I know things.
That debuted on the Nintendo DS.
Nintendo Wii.
Yeah, Nintendo Wii.
I got it.
Have you? Yeah. Have you completed your big brain?
I have the biggest brain of all.
Big brain. Is that the theme? And the football season was over, obviously. Thank God. And I look back and in envy of Ben from 2007 peacefully enjoying the end of a season whilst our season falls apart. But more of that.
Lost to Derby, hadn't you, in the playoff final in 2007?
Oh, yeah.
At the beginning of that season before.
Oh, fuck.
Don't worry, 078, you won the championship. By this point, we well have been in the final.
We might not have been in the playoffs.
Don't worry, you'll be playing Derby again next year.
But England were picking up a 3-0 win over Estonia. One of only 5 wins in that group. We had a group,
5 wins?
5 wins.
In 10 matches?
In 10 matches, yeah. We had Russia, Croatia,
Israel.
We drew with Israel. Israel 0-0.
We had the same points as Russia. We drew with Israel. It was either red to red or...
Drew with Israel.
In Israel.
We lost to Croatia. We lost to Croatia twice, I think. We lost to Russia.
That was when Slaven Bilic managed them, because they got to the quarters. We lost Croatia. Drew with Israel. Must have drew with somebody else.
Probably Russia. Yeah, I think we drew.
So we never beat Croatia. Jesus Christ.
It was brilliant against Malta or wherever the other team was.
I think it might have been Malta. Probably Andorra, or it's one of the shit ones.
Yeah,
who did get picked under him? That was Andorra.
That game, Kieran Dyer come off the bench to replace Michael Owen. So
did he have an argument with the Brolly man?
It was a dark time for wrestling, for football, for Britain's Got Talent, for everything. But we are going to... So, the podcast itself, it was originally going to be 3 full shows, and it still will be, but it won't be hosted. The third one will be hosted by Jack, because I didn't have time to watch the third show. But trust me, I missed
Everybody gets one.
But we're going to look at the actual build-up to and death of Vince McMahon, or Mr. McMahon as a character, and then the aftermath of it before we pontificate on what might have been if some other life events didn't happen and derail it. And we'll touch upon what might have happened. Damn you, Snitsky.
Brush them teeth. For God's sake.
So, first of all, first thing to note, I'm not going to go blow for blow. We will still do a match of the night just for completion's sake. It's part of a gimmick. But there isn't a fat lot to talk about.
Well, I noticed one fan sign that was up to the camera at the beginning. And it said Val Venus, #1 draft pick.
Yeah, it did. That's all. Would he have been your #1 draft pick?
No. I'm still surprised he was still in the company at this point. It got another 2 years.
What do you think about this as a gimmick?
I don't know. I'm expecting Michael Barrymore to have said,
It should have come up as a hot spot.
Yeah. Can't leave. Hey.
What was the question?
Get it wrong, you get Carly. Get it right, you get Lashley.
Brilliant. So, I mean, as a concept, I understand they're just trying different things with the draft, and I know it's difficult. But
I did this for another 3 or 4 years.
Surely a draft is better the way that it's done now, to a certain extent.
Well, I don't know, because
unless it's like the ones that they do now where no one moves.
I was going to say, only like 1 or 2. Why not just say, you got 5 picks each, just pick a wrestler from the other show? Get the robot to do it. Well, the difficulty with it now is you can't just move everyone, because then SmackDown just becomes Raw, so people have to stay on the shows.
Yeah, of course,
You've got 3 brands, so you can make it a bit more interesting, even though they never would with ECW. But you've got 3 brands.
Well, they did.
The only problem if you did it like you do now, it would be a bit more interesting.
I just think if you're doing it as a distinct brand, surely it should be a pick more so than a random. You've got Tori Wilson.
That's right. Look at what you could have won.
Because no matter what you do, if that's the case, then everyone's just going to go. Like, there's a lot of these brands. There's a lot of these picks where people go.
It's the greatest of picks, I would say, for the draft.
For anything. Random draft. But anyway,
well, poor ECW loses one of them afterwards. They should have another
the one they gained.
Yeah.
But anyway,
they had Angle, he buggered off. They have this person, he buggers off. No one wants to be on ECW.
So, yes, it's the draft, and it is also, after his ECW title loss, Mr. McMahon Appreciation Night. The show opens with Vince McMahon welcoming us. Now, he's reading from a letter. I think he's already sort of showed that his mind's broken.
I showed you that the one show where he was going around just making everybody who's got a belt defend the belts because he goes mad on one of the shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's lost his marbles. He's not the orator that he once was. So he's reading from a letter. He tells us that despite there being some concern over his mental well-being, and he's saying in monotone voice, there's nothing to worry about, and he has all his faculties. He tells us we will hear unscripted, uncut, and uncensored from
Monday Night Raw from Prophet. Where was he?
Oh God!
They could have asked him what his thoughts on Vince.
Those who he's crossed paths with in the past, like Mark Cuban and people like that. The McMahon family will not take part in this. He says it will be the defining moment of his life, and then he gives. I mean, credit to Vince. He plays a good broken man. I mean, he's fucking mad. He does this like eerie stare, and it like lingers just enough to be creepy as fuck. Like he's like, what the fuck is this?
Since he cut his hair, when he had that short hair, everything went wrong.
It did. Well, yeah, just in general. JR welcomes us to the show with King. It's a 3-hour Raw. Oh God! And he reminds us that it's McMahon Appreciation.
So nothing's changed.
Yeah,
I know. 3 hours.
Well, yeah, but at least there's wrestling on the shows now. I mean, I think combined there's only about 25 minutes of match going on, and then that's all in the first match. But anyway, more on that in a minute. It's the first ever tri-branded draft, and Cole and JBL are the SmackDown announcers. They tell us that we'll have matches, and the winner of those matches...
Oh, thank you. Thank you for showing matches. On a wrestling show, how novel.
We'll have matches. The winner of those matches will get a brand pick for their brand. Is that the first time this happened then?
Yeah, because I think they'd only done a grafting now. No, 04 and 05. 05 was the one.
They did the Paul and Bischoff one.
That was 04.
And then they did the one where it lasted a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in 06, the only
show.
sort of draft was when ECW started aiming and picked one from Raw and one from SmackDown.
Yeah.
Picked Big Show.
No, Big Show defected on his own.
Big Show defected.
A wild Big Show, can I come? No, fuck her off.
And then Taz and Joey Styles tell us that ECW might lose its champion, or CM Punk. And
we do every time.
but Taz also quite optimistically says, well, we could have everyone. So there you go.
Can you imagine?
Even Deuce. John Cena is out with his spinny belt. Good old Taz.
Everyone.
Cena is out.
But I digress. Thanks, Taz.
What a man. That is the good thing about tonight, is we get a little bit of Taz. Cena is out with his spinner belt. They should have moved JR to ECW, because even though it pissed him off going to SmackDown the year after, it would have been better if they'd have put him on Sci-Fi, wouldn't it?
And moved Taz and Laura and JR and Joey.
Taz the Shake.
Or move Joey to SmackDown with Cole.
If you really want to believe Vince has gone mad, that's what they should have done. They should have just gone fucking mental.
What they should have done is one of the picks just be a ref. What the hell have I been drafted for?
Cena is out with the spinner title. Now, I don't quite get this. I don't know how consistent it is, but we told initially that the matches have been drawn randomly, because they referenced that later. Yeah, randomly. So much so that the two world champions in the company are facing each other on a dual-branded show.
But hang on, if it's tri-branded, why won't Lashley in this?
Well, they'll still be in the title picture very soon, so don't worry. Edge dominates. I'm not going to go massively blow to blow. Edge dominates the early part of the dropkick outside. JR does immediately reference that Edge could win this match even by count out. Just so you know. Edge still get a pick. Edge keeps cutting off the heat, building the heat, cutting off Cena. The clothesline's been in heel kick, big boots. Lawler ties up Edge wanting to win to avoid being drafted to Raw because he can't beat John Cena, which doesn't make any sense within 5 minutes. Well, he's saying he wants to win against John Cena to ensure that he doesn't go to Raw because he can't beat Cena.
Cena can come to SmackDown, Jerry.
No, he's going to ECW. So he can get everybody.
Cena goes through his moves of doom. He avoids Edge's spear, sending him to the outside. He sets Edge up for an FU through the ECW table, but Edge avoids it. pushes Cena down and beats the count. And John Cena has lost by count.
JR called it.
Yes.
I told you.
So,
like I've got it written down.
we'll just get a little brief overview of the, before we find out who's going where. So, thoughts on the match?
You know, they ain't going to pin Cena, so Edge getting over on the count out, okay, whatever. Not a problem. Fine match.
Well, with the way that it goes, probably the biggest problem is there's some matches here where things happen and you just think, why is that happened there?
I think you can say this whole show.
But like this one, I do quite like it because it's obvious that Edge winning keeps Edge strong, doesn't hurt Cena, but also backfires on Edge, which is the kind of heel trait, isn't it? In that they get a person who he thinks, shit. Yeah.
Corey Wilson.
We all thought.
And Cena and Edge.
Well, considering this person is champ after Edge.
Cena and Edge are your stars on the whole show, really.
Where's Triple H is injured.
Both of these two are injured in the next sort of 2
Everybody
or 3
just
months,
gets injured.
There is a lot of injuries this year.
It's a terrible
And some death.
Some death, just a mild death.
Well, the owner's about to die.
True. I mean, it was okay, decent TV match, but I mean, you do book yourself in a corner when you have your two world champs against each other. So it's like, but it was the best way to get around it, I suppose. But it's just like,
I don't quite know why you have to though, because then you have to think of creatively ways to beat one or the other where you just don't need to. But I suppose, like I say, the only thing is tying into the heel getting a big win, but then it blowing up in his face is kind of exactly. SmackDown gets the first draft pick, which goes to the random selector, and it is the Great Khali. With Ranjan Singh.
Why won't he just Ranjan Singh?
He is in about 3 months' time champion.
Yeah,
and
yes. Your fault. That's why he put that face. He knew what was coming.
Shit.
Oh God!
If he knew what was coming, he ought to have had a word with a certain Mr. Benoit. Edge looks very concerned, and Cena loves it. I don't have to wrestle that bastard anymore.
You try and carry him. Nope.
Had he already had his feud with him, Cena?
Yeah, that was his feud going into this one.
So they've already beat
Just
Khali.
put him through the floor and off a car.
One night stand.
One night stand, yeah. They feud him off a car through the floor.
And you're back.
And now
it's almost like sending him off the side of a building after having a monster truck, man. Up next, it's the...
and he's coming back.
Well, I'll tell you what. Out of everyone who speaks, he does make a really prophetic line at the end of it, but we'll get there in a minute. Before we get there, we get a clip from, I think it was from the McMahon DVD.
Yeah, that's
like
you get a lot of that.
Yeah, Vince going through his sort of commentary phase, the people he's worked with. I think it shows Lord Al. Yes. And then we move on to Vince being discovered to be the owner of the WWF and Brett pushing him down. Before we go to Jesse Ventura. Well, it's a recorded version of Jesse, which is sad. He says that he calls him
royalties for this.
He calls him Mr. McMahon before reneging on that, saying McMahon hasn't earned the title of Mr. yet. Jesse will refer to him as McMahon, as he always did. Ventura says that he's done remarkable things, but dictators always do. Vince is a dictator and not a benevolent one. All dictators will and do fall. Jesse was right. I'll be back.
I've heard about you shitting.
I mean, it's one of the few that's on point with what they're trying to get over.
The story.
Yeah.
He's read the book.
Yeah.
I know what's happening.
He's a conspiracy theorist, that boy.
I know, yeah, good. It's one of the only conspiracy theories he's ever had that was right.
Yeah. I know, McMahon.
I think he's a bastard.
You know him? You know him? Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah. The thing, if he'd have ended it by saying, and McMahon was behind 9/11, then that would have, it would have lost him there.
Did McMahon shoot Kennedy?
Just for his name.
fine now.
What a gimmick. Oh dear. Anyway, Coach tells us that Vengeance will be Night of Champions. They had already done that the week before, but anyway, we'll ignore that. And anyone on the Raw roster after tonight who is a former champion, they're very vague with the term champion, will be eligible for the World Championship match because when they want to judge it as a world champion, they do, and when they don't,
well,
they relate
it is called the ECW World Championship. Very soon after, it's just ECW Championship.
The problem with that, though, is if you're going to do that, then there's probably other people who can claim if there was WCW. And
I was champ.
Yes, they should have put Sandman in it.
He's on Raw, right?
That is a very good point.
Well, considering the Raw after, I got very confused with some people appearing on both shows.
Oh, God, yeah.
With it.
You made the SmackDown.
The
SmackDown, yeah, and the Raw
The supplemental happens like on
the
Thursday.
Sunday. Yeah. But they've already filmed on Tuesday. The whole company is shit. We get
there's something I've got to say on the last Raw to remind me about that.
We get a recap of Murdoch and Cade becoming World Tag Team Champions, winning the belts from two people who were on different brands. Yeah. So there is only one set of belts at this point now.
No, there's two. Do some
we'll see him in a minute. Yeah.
You shake my hand. Don't draft him.
Two people who are eligible for the current draft are going to be competing next. It's CM Punk and Carlito. Are they in the draft, by the way? Is CM Punk in the draft?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's in the Raw.
He's on Raw.
They do two pools, don't they? So I think he's in the Raw pool.
And Carlito attacked Dragon Lee. Who would have thought it?
No, I can't believe it.
No.
I knew it.
What a shock.
That was quite...
Yeah.
Who cares? I thought he was going to join... I thought he was going to join with what's the name? Los blah 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 blah.
Santos.
Called. Yeah.
Legado.
But he died, did he?
I ain't watched it yet. But I know what happens.
Spoiler.
Don't worry, this will come out the end of May, you'll find it.
Yeah, by then he'll be back in the LWL.
Released.
We have the ECW commentators up for their next match. So, Carlito wastes no time on his entrance. Carlito slaps and gets kicked down early on. There's a nice drop kick from Carlito on a jumping Punk. Carlito works the ribs throughout the mid portion of the match. Punk hits a nice springboard clothesline. Carlito avoids the bulldog with a backstabber. Punk is rolled to the outside. Carlito, rather than choosing to get the count-out win, which just happened, decides I'm going to put him back inside. Yeah. And Punk immediately gets up and hits a GTS and wins. So that is that done. Let's talk about the match before we get the pick. It wasn't as good as the first.
No, it wasn't, and I didn't really give, Punk winning randomly with just have a GTS out of nowhere. I don't think helped him. I know Carlito was in a feud with Flair and all this sort of thing, so they're trying to keep him strong, but
I think the idea is a bit of
that feud is nullified.
It is a bit of a misnomer as well that Punk was as over as people sort of like to believe. That's what I mean. He just is. He's not this. Obviously, people know him that are really hardcore fans, but this crowd is not a very good crowd anyway, and they did not give a shit about this match.
It's just a filler match. Eh? Just all right then. Who's going to have a piece?
ECW have got to win a match.
Yeah.
Punk is over.
Yeah. Next.
Well, we ain't putting balls over, for God's sake.
Well, the second pick, goes to ECW, and it is the Boogeyman. Oh, God.
Sounds lovely.
Four freaks.
Ah, yes, the Boogeyman.
From the bottomless pit! It's the Boogeyman, y'all.
30 minutes in, we've got Carly and the Boogeyman. Punk has to act like he gives a shit. Don't think he knows whether he should be fearful, whether he should be respectful, or like doing the Hogan Macho Man handshake with the Boogeyman.
He does it on TV.
He does on Saturday night. Maybe that's when he went, oh, God, I've got a team with him there.
He should have said that in his pipe bomb, shouldn't he, really?
No fucking boogeyman.
If he'd have said, hi, boogeyman, instead of hi...
Boogeyman. He went on Boogie's podcast. Boogeyman.
If he had just been friends with Boogeyman instead of Colt Cabana, none of this would have happened. If you think about it.
I can't eat words up straight edge.
But don't worry, we're getting the show back on track. It's Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. You're right, Kurt. All I think now, whenever I see it.
Snoop Dogg.
Clearly hot.
Deserved Hall of Famer, Snoop Dogg.
Greatest commentator ever.
Oh,
Greatest
brilliant.
wrestler ever.
Oh, he's just brilliant. Yabba dabba do. I mean, he's just brilliant.
Yabba dabba do.
Well, he just references like Yogi Bear and stuff like that. No, he is a picnic table.
How old are you?
Grandma.
He's just brilliant. He thanks Vince and appreciates him for making all that money for himself. Yes.
What the hell are you doing?
And then he goes about Cena and Stone Cold Steve.
Stone Cold Steve?
He remember when he whooped on that ass? Hey! Remember when you had your head still? Big Show's ass. And then he likes saying ass, I think. He calls Vince the biggest asshole. Good old Snoop, what a boy. That would be enough to send anyone off the edge. If you've lost the respect of Snoop.
If you've lost Snoop, you've lost life, let's be honest.
We get another clip now of all the evil doings of Vince, which include the kicking of Zach Owens' leg, firing everyone, divorcing Linda, the Kiss My Ass Club, and then winning the Rumble. Oh, and screwing Brett as well.
Yeah.
Good old Vince.
Hooray.
Oh, God, this gets worse. Mick Foley is out next. He sits on the couch until he said that it was an open championship. So he says, we've got no star power. I better get the tights back on. So he's an official member of the Raw
Very
roster.
strange to me. How the hell did... Why did they go...
Was it just a singular match? There was no, knock-on match that he had at SummerSlam or something? No. We watched SummerSlam, didn't we? And he weren't on it. SummerSlam, he's back alive and dancing with Crime Time. Yeah. That's amazing.
A lot has been danced around.
This is June.
He just
Dancing with Regal and Crime.
Well, I think the only reason he died was because I think Bruce Pritchard does say it's funny. He goes, he wanted to be took off telly. He goes, well, I can't be on TV if I'm dead.
I've got it.
So be on telly.
You're the boss. You know I want acting for you anyway. Foley says that he's going to be in the championship match of Vengeance. Then he gives his thoughts on McMahon. Now, Foley, you're better than this. He says Vince has the power to do so much good, and he's only somewhat followed through with it. He says he's given to charity and he's a super patriot. But he is also a misogynistic ass. He gets off on grown men kissing his rear end. He questions whether Vince has any real friends. The fans tell us he's got no friends. Foley lists off people who was asked to be here but said no. Hogan, Triple H, Bischoff, The Rock, Dick Ebersol, Shawn Michaels,
My dick and dog.
Trish Stratus, and Ted Turner. And
let's go Foley instead.
He made that up because he said his fourth child, did he, or something like that? Trish Stratus is.
Oh yeah.
If he'd have got that wrong and said my fourth child, Ted Turner, it would have been all wrong, wouldn't it? They thought Vince was not worth their time, and they didn't appreciate Mr. McMahon.
Hogan would have challenged Vince to a match, trying to get over.
And then he says, have a nice day. Now, if they'd have just really gone on with the fact that he's a lonely man who has no friends. No, but at least that's enough to maybe make it...
You meant Foley.
That's why I've got 3 faces. I could talk to myself.
Well, yeah, no, if they'd have really gone heavy on the fact Vince has no friends or something like that, that might...
You got no friends?
It's done in such a hammy, awful, cacky way.
Yeah.
That I don't know whether it was poor writing by the writing staff or Foley and everyone, well, certainly Dusty's later, having, like,
That is weird.
He's just doing what he wants. Yeah, all right for him.
I think it's our first live one, and all the live ones are pretty awful.
Oh, this is pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually probably the best of the three, but it's awful.
Anyway.
Anyway,
I don't know Piper's is quite
We've
good.
just had dicks and they're all.
it's 2007. Remember when Balls Mahoney was at your roster? He's waiting in the ring, and his opponent
You're not getting an entrance.
is yeah, exactly. This tells you who's winning this. It's Umaga. It was done his sort of big spot. He's probably on the downwards element.
Yeah,
to it
he's
now.
lost at the billionaire and he's been with Vince, so now he's
Yeah,
he's just
he's pretty
someone
much
to beat up jobbers.
jobber upper mid card, but he can
Yeah.
beat up anyone. Taz and Joey put over that it was a randomly drawn match. And
We didn't want to put balls on the show.
They basically go, well, he's got no chance.
RVD's left. So
Yeah.
we're fine.
Kicks him in the gut, straight kick, spike, and Umaga has beaten Balls Mahoney.
He squashed his balls.
Now, somewhat there has been a
Both of
little
these
bit
are
of a
dead.
link where Edge has won Carly,
yeah.
the Boogeyman and CM Punk.
Well, it's just easy.
Kind of. So anyway, Umarga's won. King Booker. The fuck is the weirdest? Like, what relevance does that have to
I mean,
anyone?
at least it's a big.
No, it's a
star.
good name,
It's a good
but I mean,
name.
can't they have
What you first?
It was in a bit. It was Jerry Corgo until he's had his match getting.
No, exactly. But like, even then they could have flipped the matches. They could have restructured everything.
Around. Who else is left for Raw?
King Booker leaves by the end of the year.
I like King Booker, but even he feels like a bit of a played out gimmick at this point. I mean, he's run as King Booker. He's coming down as well.
and then he leaves.
As
He loses his accent soon.
yeah, but then he picks one up in TNA. So
Found a different one.
squash match. It was a squash match.
there are lots of
Squash match.
Speaking of Umaga, remember that bloke who laughed at him? It's Steve-O!
Kicked out of it.
Was that this SummerSlam or was it the one
No,
before?
it was this.
It was
this one was
First
it.
one.
Eventually, who did they put Umaga in that triple
Triple
threat?
threat with Kennedy, Carlito.
Fuck
Match
me.
of the year.
3 heels. So weird.
What a year.
What is going on?
We need to do more 2007.
We need to do less 2006. Fucking
Hang on, this
awful.
podcast is about looking at
Well, yeah, it's true, but it's hard though as well. It's
I
like
mean,
really
Rumble,
bad.
No Way Out, mate.
It ain't Fat Greg in a cage, is it? Like, I can deal with Fat Greg in a cage or the Irish Assassin or whatever, but
The Greek
fucking hell. Yeah, Gold Greek.
That's it.
Anyway, another man who will be involved in the draft in 17 years' time is coming up next. It's Bobby Lashley, not the other one. The other one was the man who ruined this whole angle. It's just, this is the
I don't
equivalent.
know, looking back at it, I think he saved this time.
Oh, thank you, Benoit.
Just something about it. Something has to be done.
Chris, you could have done something else.
I told you to kill the angle.
Don't tell him to do that, Paul Kurt.
Oh, he peeled off his head. He wouldn't understand.
Yeah, the Crippler Chris Benoit, who is SmackDown.
Yes.
Yes.
Smackdown.
Oh, yeah,
it's
it is.
money.
It's Cole and JBL. At this
It's
point.
money, apparently.
Yeah, I like JBL at this point because he's not as irritable as what he becomes. I think
Oh, no,
he's
Michael.
There's
Not
some of the-
overly heel, is he?
yeah, he's kind of got the balance right.
Flying.
Yeah.
Holy
It's
shit.
built as a big match with the stare down early on. Cole and JBL.
I'm Friday, that's Michael.
I really do stand by this. They are the better of the three teams. They are by far the best team because they at least try and put over that Vince has broken his mind. Like the rest don't. JR couldn't give a fuck about that.
JR and King, I think, are sort of at the point where it's like, maybe it's time to
Yeah, we've done enough.
freshen
Now.
it up. I do miss Cole and Taz.
Oh yeah. I mean, Cole and Taz are brilliant.
Yeah.
The mat work. The match is all mat work. Lashley gets some sort of murmurs and boos on his offense. I think they're already giving him the Roman.
Even
and the
he's
Cena
gone by
sort
the end of the
thing.
year. Fucking hell, everybody on this show's gone by
What
the
happened
end
with
of
Lashley then? Did he choose to leave?
Left with Crystal, though.
Yeah, I think Yeah.
Did they get rid of Crystal and that was
I
it?
don't know. I think he just had enough idea.
Yeah, he just went, and then 2 years later, he's in TNA.
JBL puts over Lashley's amateur background before reminding us he was the first person to beat Lashley. He does it a really good torture backbreaker. The cross
face.
Yeah, I put fire. The cross faces survived. I don't know why I put that. The crossfire faces survived. Lashley, I mean, he's so powerful. He just deadlifts Benoit from the ground. The Germans for Benoit hit German suplex, not the Germans.
Don't attack the Germans!
The sharpshooter is survived by Lashley. I shouldn't use the word survived with Benoit, should I? There's a big running power slam, although it's not.
We want to know.
It's not the traditional sort of power slam that he'd been using, but he wins with it nonetheless. And Lashley has got second pick for ECW. ECW are 2 up at the moment.
We could get everyone.
We're going to win the FA Cup.
It is true that they are on course for everyone.
Yes.
Except for Carl and Booker.
They hadn't lost anyone at this point either, had they? No. So they'd actually gained, 2 at this point and lost none. They are winning this draft for the moment. ECW are 2 up. They get the next draft pick. Oh, well, let's talk about the match first before we discover who the draft pick was.
Who is it?
In a very... butterfly effect thing, if you think about it. If that wasn't that, and he was on a Tuesday night, who knows?
I guarantee if
he wouldn't have been at Vengeance because he weren't in an angle.
Later on, what they did with Cena later when he got drafted and then drafted back, I guarantee Cena on this would have been drafted to ECW, then moved to SmackDown, then moved back to Raw.
What a draft! No one moved.
Cena moved all the time.
And the Boogeyman.
I thought it was probably the best match so far. It was very solid. I think that Benoit worked really well to get Lashley's amateur and power over.
Yeah. Still strange watching it at this point
because you know it's so
because you know what's happening.
I think you're always consciously looking for things like you would be able to notice. Oh, that was the time we knew he was a killer. you know what I mean? But
There's a rope in his pocket. It's just
should have come out as Colonel Mustard.
To be fair, when he got in the ring, I did look at his head and think, bloody hell, you look fucked.
Very sweaty. Yeah, someone should have said, look, he needs a break.
He'd already had a break the year before, because he come back was in Judgment Day against Regal.
I mean,
he just had a random match because he'd been away from
the whole point of this is looking at an old man.
No Mercy, I thought it was
this is all about looking at an old man's mind breaking, and they've got a wrestler who's obviously at breaking point. But yeah, I mean, it is always difficult to watch Benoit. It's even more difficult to watch Benoit right up
2007
to when it happens.
When you can just hear the ticking. Something's happening.
But for what it is worth, he is a phenomenal wrestler. He does really well to put over Lashley. And it is obviously a tragedy, but one of the shames is that he wasn't allowed to sort of rebrand ECW as a mat-based dominant champion. Which I think is what...
Him and Boogie.
Heyman wanted.
Which is what Heyman wanted.
That's why you got Angle on.
Yeah. And Vince went, zombie!
Boogeyman and Hardcore Holly.
And a test.
Hardcore Holly moves in this draft. That's fucking amazing.
Does he?
Well, they had to, because there was moving Miz the other way, and they thought, well, he won't cope with that. I thought it was the best match so far, for what it's worth. Anyone?
Yeah, well, in ring-wise and everything and technical ability, yes, it was the best match, and it got over a new style for ECW that isn't going to matter because one of them's not going to be on.
No, but for what it's worth,
he was on. He was on one episode or two? One more.
Was it only one? Is that to qualify for the title?
Yeah, they had like a mini tournament, and it was going to be in V-Punk.
Brilliant. I mean, for what it's worth, it is also probably the best in terms of it linking to the actual draft, because the draft pick is Chris Benoit, who goes to ECW, which at this time then sort of sets the scene of what you think is going to be the ECW title.
It feels like a credible main event star, or at least upper mid-card.
It was the first one where the crowd went,
from the brand.
This will help freshen him up.
Yeah, don't worry though. There's the next one.
Trump!
It is the Trump. It's the Donald. The Donald is here. Trump says, Vince, you're pretty pathetic. He says, no one's ever held an appreciation night like me. I've done the best appreciation nights there's ever been. Donald Trump.
Maybe I should do one in my own company. And I thought, you did that for an old country, mate.
He ought to have done that. New national holiday, Donald Trump appreciation. He puts over picking Bobby Lashley. No one picks a superstar like me. I pick the best superstars. I thought it was before this.
No, it's later, 09, because then Vince
that's what leads to the guest house.
Yeah, because that was Trump's idea. Bloody Trump threw it.
Oh, no, it's brilliant. I love Donald. He's better in this realm.
He's a better wrestler.
Don't focus on the politics.
Yeah.
Stay in the wrestling, Donald.
Stay out of that.
He's so brilliant. He tells Vince, the fans aren't happy, Vince. He's giving him the Joe Biden effect in here.
He did not win.
Fake news. You should have had all them foolish people in the buffalo heads.
John Miracle and whatever his name is.
Oh, Jesus. Good old Donald. At least he got the point as well.
Yeah.
He gets it over. The next one. Oh God! Now we've jumped the shark. Now I'm sorry, we've jumped the shark. It's really reached the point where we've run out of ideas of what to do. Ashley's appearing on satellite, so I think he's fired already, or he's done something.
Because of coffee.
Yeah.
But still, again, this is another one when you watch it back.
So she reminds us. I mean, the WWF are so foolish in there. Like, even in 2007, they must have looked regretfully at that. So they go, "Oh, we'll show it." So they show the Trish Stratus dog segment from 2001 again.
Fuck, I remember now what happened.
Well, not only they double down, don't they? So Ashley says, no, it's terrible. Ashley says that Vince gets off on divas doing this, so she's found two divas to come out on all fours in
become the heel. You're just doing the exact same. If anything, you're worse because you're exploiting the elderly. How dare you?
What are you doing? Like someone in the meeting should have just said that. What is this? This will not get any laughs at all.
Oh, there was one big guffaw in the back. You know who that come from?
Pal, shit, pal.
This could be the weirdest, 10-minute segment of Raw ever, from Trump to the end after this.
Oh yeah. You got Trump. I mean, people are going mad at Mr. Tony Khan's comment on what WWF is or he is in terms of dropping the Harvey Weinstein. It might have easily been able to go, well, look at this.
This 10-minute segment of the draft in 07 is fucking mad.
Oh God! So Ashley, to try and get at Vince for doing this, has commissioned two divas currently to do that, and the two divas are, of course, Moolah and May. Moolah and May come out in their 90s. To a set at the top of the stage, which has got like a dog house and two big, huge comedy bones and a fire hydrant, anything dog related from a Snoopy cartoon in there. May and Moolah then, well, they get on all fours and bark like dogs, and this, I just like cut. It goes on.
Right. 3 minutes. What are you doing?
I mean, somewhere in the back, Balls Mahoney must have gone, you cut 3 minutes from our match.
I don't get that.
I didn't get an entrance for this.
Who's that got back at Vince? You ain't doing it at Vince when he's there.
If anything,
you've just embarrassed the Moolah and May.
If anything, that could have snapped Vince out.
If anything, this should lead to Ashley versus Moolah and May.
It's terrible. Like,
So
really
I don't
bad.
understand anything of this.
God, 2007.
Don't worry. There's two people here to sort it out.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, before then, they do announce that the next pair of randomly drawn superstars to face each other just so happen to be the IC and US champions who are on both shows.
Oh.
It's Santino, I Haven't Got a Gimmick versus MVP.
The Italian.
Yeah. I mean, that I like the fact that they went, well, we want to get over in Italy. We're doing the live show from Italy. That's fine. And then they went, well, now what? He's just got to be Italian for a while. Just awful gimmick. But anyway.
Nunzio.
Exactly. Why not Nunzio?
Nunzio.
Exactly. The Iron Sheik and Jimmy Snuka, the tag team we all didn't realise we wanted. In the back, warning Deuce and Domino, we're coming for you, brother. Snuka.
To be fair, Snuka does fight Deuce and Domino.
He also shired one of them.
Slaughter and him should have won the tag on that show.
Slaughter has got a sneaky spoiler. Sneaky outside chance for MVP from me for his promo later on. Anyway, Snuka, because he's got a long way to go here. Snuka says there's something not right, brother, in the old coconut. There's an old coconut, brother.
There's something strange.
And when Snuka says you might have lost your marbles, you might have done. But a man who's a man whose marbles well and truly were gone a long, long time ago is Sheik. He says that Donald Trump, I tell you what, fans around the world, you know who's caused this? It's Donald Trump. What's his hair?
Bloody hell, Sheik knew what was going to happen in the 2020s.
If they'd have timed this right and they'd actually put the Sheik's one on before Donald Trump could have challenged the Sheik.
They could have had America v Iran again.
Build a wall.
Sheik Trump at Mania 24.
He would have loved that. That's a brilliant gimmick as well. He could have run on his presidency for that.
Right till the rebook.
I got rid of Iron Sheik for you. Making America great again. I sent the Sheik back in. He also then ends Sheik by saying, Vince is an athlete.
Great athlete.
What?
Okay.
No good Brian Blair.
That might have been what really did snap his brain, because he might have been like, what's going on?
I'm completely gone now.
MVP does come out looking like an absolute boss from his little sort of runway thing.
Yeah,
I do like MVP though. He does look like he's got an upside. Santino, he looks like a lost child. I just don't quite get why he didn't do a Rocky style gimmick, like proper Rocky. Because he's Italian American and just make him proper, really like over the top Rocky style thing. Even boxing gloves or something stupid. Because he desperately needs a gimmick. Like, he's so. You're holding the second or the third highest belt and you look like a chump. Like.
Third, maybe fourth, depending on how they feel about the other
The moment JR goes, he's got a lot of heart, he's probably going to lose.
Oh, there's nothing here, folks.
Don't worry, folks. He'll get all the help he needs.
That would have been brilliant. Then they see on the big screen him being taken out by Kozlov and pouring tea. He's a gimmick. There's even work. Exchange kicks, which ends with a big kick to the spine by Morella. Santino rallies and space plant on the top row. Weird sort of fireman carry sort of spot as Santino sort of nearly steals it with a heel trip. There's a big running boot into the corner. A drive. Is it the drive by that sort of
the playmaker?
The playmaker. Yeah. An MVP beats Santino just to establish. Don't bother about him. We'll get the belt off him soon. And I thought
to Margaret who beats Santino.
Well, it's the triple threat IC8, so he must drop it to Margaret.
Because he won it off of Margaret.
He must drop it to one of them, I think.
Yeah.
It's shit. I mean, there's no chemistry either.
Yeah.
I don't dislike Santino. He works hard. He's definitely got a place on the roster, but he's desperately needed.
Not that
and there was it didn't feel like there was any chemistry for me. There was quite blank spots and stuff.
No, for two mid-card champions, it felt pretty low, pretty poor, pretty like the two weakest characters we've seen so far. Maybe not MVP, but MVP sort of brought down by the fact that Santino's got nothing.
Yeah. Plus, you're reminding people that anyone who holds a mid-card title are of this level.
Yeah.
They're not. These two are not the same.
No. Clearly one's above the other.
Yes. The winning pick for SmackDown, much to the enjoyment of JBL, is Tori Wilson.
Yeah!
Imagine what? I mean, I'm not not dissing women of the past. We know the problems and the issues with the way women have been booked up and down throughout the ages. I don't doubt that Tori Wilson did the most of what she could with the career, with the limitations that were placed upon her. But what the fuck are you wasting one of your spots on this? And what relevance does that have to MVP or Santino? Couldn't it have been the Carlito match? Because she's feuding with Carlito. It would.
Or have at least a woman who could wrestle, like Mickey James or something. I don't know if it was in the company at this point, but you know what I mean. Have one of them at least.
Yeah, well, I think in their minds, the most overstar they've got now, Trish and Lita have sort of left, is Tori. But like the crowd just do not give a shit. There's like one sort of like frat boy who goes, yeah.
I like that.
Well, for me, don't worry, we've got another waste of time spot coming up now because we've got this should have been built throughout. The one thing that we do want to hear from for the first time in God knows how long is Bret Hart with a live mic to be able.
The first time he ever appeared on Raw.
Yeah. Since the screw job. It's on this should have been built up.
We wanted it.
Angry man, shakes fisted clown. It's just.
It's basically what he said. What do you know? You don't turn up.
They should have cut to the gym.
That's what he should have. I'm back to you.
They should have cut to the gym, and because of contractual difficulties, here's Bruce Hart. It was fucking
speaking on behalf of Brett. I'm back to you.
I mean, they should have laid some foundation, even if it was that, you know, Brett was cut or Brett was stifled or just something to lay seeds for a future thing, or let him. I mean, Brett just is shit. It is an awful promo. Basically, he struggles with his words, and he basically says, "I can think of some things to do. Push a fist, punch him 40 times."
Yeah.
All right. And that's it. Like, it is terrible. Like, really is terrible. I can't stress. At this point, I was thinking, oh, this is bad. Like, this is really bad.
You don't even look like Brett because you're in a green T-shirt and like
in a dreary background. It's like that what you were saying with St Mirren. Just like the colour seems off, and it just everything feels a bit weird.
Pink on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Get that pink on.
He looks the least threatening human being ever, doesn't he? The Miz is out next. Again, a man who's eligible. Oh, he should have been eligible, but he's not eligible for the draft, is he? But it will be. He's on the current roster, at the very least, The Miz. And he's going up against Snitsky.
Oh, okay.
He's going up against Snitsky.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Taz doesn't give Miz much chance. He says, we've got an easy pick here. We're going to have a pick.
We're going to get everyone.
They still haven't lost anyone at this point. Taz is having a good night.
I think now they only lose Snitches.
No, they lose.
They lose the main one.
Oh, yeah.
Miz fights from under, avoiding the monster with kicks and punches before diving onto him, being power slammed in the corner and hung up.
Is he SmackDown, eh?
Yes, but he is ECW at the end of the draft, didn't he? I think he moves.
He moves in the supplemental.
Yeah. Big boot and it's over. Snitsky, though, continues after the bell. I like the referee. Just goes, nope, I told you, reversed.
Oh, yeah,
this has never happened before. I've reversed the decision immediately. And, of course, Miz has won. What an absolute load of bollocks.
It's a weird one.
And not only that, all this leads to is Chris Masters moving to SmackDown. I mean,
he was happy. He's like, I got it out of ECW.
I like Chris Masters a lot, and I think they lost a lot of money with him. He can't talk for fuck. If he was in the 80s, or it was a period where there was managers, Chris Masters could have made money.
Bobby Heenan would be my Oscar.
Oh, he'd have loved it.
No. I think he'd be Fuji. He looks like a Fuji man.
But I do like Chris Masters. But why not have that Snitsky has cost ECW world champion.
Oh, yeah.
Because he had won the match, and this was the time that Lashley moved. So that I don't know who
just have a Raw.
I don't know who the GM was, but like
a VCW, the War one. It was Vince.
But I suppose you could have at least played off that all the ECW lot then and coming out after Snitsky because he cost them, I don't know.
Tony Marmon.
Hardcore Holly is so upset.
That's what I mean, but
you cost us.
I mean, you cost Snitsky, cost Raw.
Yeah,
Masters.
Don't worry, over there soon.
It's just crap. Like no one thinks. Like we've just gone. We want to move Masters. We'll just put him there when Snitsky beats Miz, or then loses to Miz. And who gives a shit?
They just have had a SmackDown man beat anyone.
Just any, exactly. Or Toy. I don't know who Masters have been feuding with. But put someone
Masters had a feud at this point. He was just there.
But that's exactly right. This match, admittedly, it's inconsequential. No fuck will ever remember it. Yeah. But this puts over no one. Like Masters comes out and no one cares. So I really like Masters, but by the end of this, I think he's in dark matches. I think his first appearance, which is in the next show, is in a dark match, and he fights Chuck Palumbo.
You will remember me. Oh yeah, you're fine.
And the match was crap, really, for what it was. Miz is trying hard, but Snitsky, I having him as a big sort of monster, really. He's ugly as fuck.
Yeah, he really is. And put something on his teeth.
Yeah. Has he actually put something on his teeth?
Yeah, I think it was.
Horrible.
I think that was Vince's.
So he's getting ready for John,
Apparently,
He was going to fight John. But then he bust his nose, I think.
It's a bad time. Can we all just have a moment of silence for 2007? Bobby Heenan is up next.
He sums up 2007 at the end.
Oh, yeah. I feel even that's where I thought, as they wrote a script for him, because I think by the end of it, he's So Heenan says, McMahon has put more people in work than anyone and more people out of work than anyone. He says that McMahon, it goes on about, let's talk about McMahon's walk. He must have the biggest case of chafing. Or have a giant set of balls. Well, you decide. And then he just puts his face in the palm of his head. And they linger on that. I never give in.
We did 25 takes, and that was the best one.
I love Bobby Heenan, but again, he's intelligent enough to be able to pour over something.
Yeah.
And I get that you want to add in a little bit of humour with Heenan, because at this point it's not too far removed from his Hall of Fame speech, and that was sort of his very small role in WWE was to come on and have some light comedic relief. But his jokes were cack, really. I don't know how this would lead to Vince losing his mind. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But don't worry.
No!
Bobby Heenan suggested I might have big testicles. I've now lost my mind. But don't worry, because someone who is a brilliant orator, who can get under the skin of anyone, he has his own talk show segment on WWE for such a long time, one of the best talkers in history, the controversial Roddy Piper, is walking backstage. Someone is going to save this show, I was thinking. It's going to be great. Piper's,
I thought they said they was highly disappointed.
That's what it's trying to say.
Yeah. It comes out, rather than cut us to a promo, he only immediately stays at the top of the stage, which is a thing that happens here for some reason.
She'll go down to that drink.
He sends us to a package that he says are of Vince McMahon's best moments. It is embarrassing moments. So there is a lot of, I've put here, shit and piss. And a bit of beer. Plenty of stunners. And it ends with a bald Vince McMahon. And then we go back to Piper, and I thought, okay, well, we've got that bullshit out of the way, but, Piper might now add some proper sort of spice to it, give us something for him to ponder. He just goes, "Congratulations, Vinny," and does his.
I love you, baby.
What a crock of shit!
Blew me out of here for this.
And the coconut, yeah.
Well, the burgers had, but I mean, it's what a waste of time.
It's a waste of it.
You should have got Cheeky Baby out for this. He could have done that.
Well, anybody could have done this in a
Bobby Heenan, you could have tied the skit to the Bobby Heenan thing where, he talked about, because again, he's the comedy, I get that.
But Mean Gene.
Yeah, Mean Gene's probably one of the better ones as well.
Even
though he does it in Mean Gene style, you might as well plug the hotline at the end of it, but...
you want to hear my thoughts on Vince? Call 1-900-909-99.
Can I ask, would this have made you feel remotely sad about your life if nothing has been said that can be at all shocking?
The next bloke praises him.
Yeah, well, that's it. So, first of all, Candice and Crystal are out next. So, Dave Meltzer's sharpening his 5-star pencil. And,
the pencil.
6 stars.
and Mark,
Case of 5-star break glass.
Mark Cuban is on next. He's promo as well. It looks like they've just caught it. It's like GTV have caught it coming out the bog. What you thought of Vince?
What was that?
He basically just puts over Vince. He goes, "Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah,
I like Vince.
What a businessman."
Yeah.
I like you.
Well, now I'm really confused. What is the purpose of tonight? I don't quite get it.
He
God.
appreciates Vince. There you go.
Yeah, well. Candice versus Crystal. Oh my God, you need some talent in your women's division. It's probably about as good as it can be expected from these two. They both work hard. It's not brilliant.
Don't worry, Crystal's going to be the best segment ever soon.
Candice wins with a spinning heel kick, and that's about as much as
this
I
is
can
when
say.
they was trying to push Candice a bit.
Yeah, I thought Crystal didn't. It's really hard to criticise the women at this point. They do try hard, but they...
Well, they're not wrestlers, are they?
Not wrestlers.
Old Funk Man is sorting about it.
Yeah.
Oh, Big Johnny.
Any thoughts on that match? I mean...
They tried their best.
Was what it was.
People liked Candice. They tried
Yeah,
their best.
I don't dislike Candice either. I think Crystal
I
had a
don't really
place as
understand
well.
what Crystal is.
She's she's obviously infatuated by old black men.
Aren't we all?
Hey, you know.
Speaking of them.
Anyway, yes. So why this match? Although I suppose...
It is weird, because this is the guy that is supposed to be like the next Cena.
This is
This is the draft.
Well, if you really look at the draft...
Shouldn't it have been the
show?
Cena match that Lashley
Well,
got
this
granted?
to me has to be the highlight
The
of
big
this
one.
draft. And it happens here, because it's
No,
basically...
Snitsky.
Bobby Lashley moving from ECW to Raw happens at the end of a Candice LeRae Crystal match.
Candice Michelle.
Candice Michelle, sorry, not Candice.
Not quite Candice LeRae.
Yeah.
What a strange time to move.
Yeah, and basically, immediately, Coach comes out and says, "Bobby, you can't be the champ anymore." And he goes, "Well, if I'm going to have to give up that title, I'm going to be a champ again."
And then he goes, "Well, hold on. If no the champ moves, they keep their belt.
Well,
Just because it's called ECW."
he says afterwards as well, even if Batista moves, he's going to fight Edge
For the world?
for the world title. Which would mean he would immediately have to give the title up.
Well, what's the point then?
It's my left shot.
That's what he was going to say.
What's the point then? A lot of this draft is a bit like that. There ain't been any heavy hitter. The first heavy hitter was tucked away on a
I
woman.
got light-headed.
That is a perfect way to sum up the whole draft. What is the point?
What's the point then?
Oh God! It's been. I mean, it has been crap. The whole booking.
And this is on the
everything has been
first
crap.
show.
It even makes no sense now that we're now doing a triple threat.
Yeah.
Now they all been triple
Yeah.
threats. Why is there? What the fuck is this?
Taz should have moaned. Taz should have moaned because well, Taz should have right on. He said we have no chance of getting everyone if we're not in everyone's match. He actually, like we've said, Raw actually has a chance to lose things. Brands have a chance to lose in matches they're not even in. It's fucking stupid. It's Elijah Burke and Jeff Hardy and Batista. So yeah.
What the fuck was that?
It was randomly drawn.
This is the first one that feels like that. Because Batista is a star.
Yeah, he
would go for the title.
And Jeff Hardy is very much lost.
Jeff Hardy's lost as usual.
He's just lost the tag belt.
It's fucking Burke.
Burke's meant to be like a top heel on ECW.
But come on, he's standing. The problem with Burke is the moment you're standing next to Batista, you know he's not going to be a star. That's the truth.
He's just ready for that.
You've got to build him up. You can't just go, he's a star on EC. It's like what they did with fucking Mike Knox at the Survivor Series. They had to eliminate him early because there ain't no way Sean is going to be selling for Mike fucking Knox. So it never worked.
Who the hell's that?
I mean, it ties in with who gets drafted, but there's Mark Henry in this battle royal in a bit, who could have been in this triple threat.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that would have given you a bit of credibility, yeah.
And it would have been at least level.
No,
he's on SmackDown.
Oh, SmackDown.
SmackDown wins this draft pick.
I would even argue, if you're going to pick from ECW to go up against Batista, pick someone like Marcus Cavon, because at the very least he plays the big dominant role, or Snitsky, or someone like that.
Well, yeah.
Or Boogeyman.
Could have had.
You got Boogeyman.
Batista, Colvon, and Viscera. That would have been better.
Jesus Christ!
What a roster!
Who's taking the pin?
Who's taking the bomb? Well, it's definitely not Viscera.
Yeah.
It breaks down pretty early between Hardy and Batista, who are the baby faces. Hardy does hit a swanton, which is broken up by Burke. Does actually lead you to believe he would have beaten Batista with a swanton.
Can you imagine if Batista had to lose this?
Which, it might have been, again, even if you are going to set Burke up, if Batista had powerbombed Hardy and he stole a win, at the very least, that, just having Batista win just seems stupid. There is a good line about JBL saying that he hopes Cole gets drafted to OVW, which did make me laugh. There's two big spine busters.
Yeah, but who'd replace him?
They're not in the match.
Jim Cornette. That would have been a brilliant team.
Cornette and JBL.
Cornette had just spent most of the time going, what the fuck is this?
I'm going to blow that fucker up.
Where's Dennis Condry? Get him earlier.
Boogeyman! Boogeyman!
I'm very more happy when Santino won that IC belt. Weren't that why he slapped him? Because he sell the Boogeyman. Fucking brilliant, man. Cornette. He's so good. Even the Batista bomb looks terrible, by the way. And Batista has beaten Burke. After the let's just.
I couldn't get over how weird this feels of a match. It's such a strange match to happen, and such a it doesn't gain anything because Batista is obviously going to win. Yeah. He is the star.
Yes.
And you didn't then swerve and have him dominate and then Burke, like you say, steal a heel win. But then you can't put this man on ECW because it would be
it would have been brilliant if they did. No, the draft pick that they got.
I forgot.
When he's backstage on SmackDown, he says, I love being on SmackDown. I don't think he'd have said that if it was the other way.
I think it's just, they just wanted a way that them two are going to interact.
Yeah. But again,
they've done it in such a weird
strange way. They could have tied it up with someone that Batista and feuded with on Raw. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Sam, anything to add on this terrible
show? It was
show?
strange. I mean, I saw Jeff Hardy on the thumbnail. I thought, okay, And then I saw it was a triple threat. Then Batista come out. What? What's he doing in here?
It's just one of these does not belong.
This is universe, though.
Yeah, it is exactly. Anyway, the only thing I will give it credit for is tying up the fact that Batista won, and he won. He's the babyface. He should be rewarded. He gets his mate to come along. It's the nature boy. And he gets probably as big a reaction as Lashley, which at this point is the big move of the draft.
But I think Flair only appears on like 4 SmackDowns,
and then he's back to Raw,
and then goes on Raw for his retirement tour.
Well, it makes me laugh. I mean, the Raw that was going to be the one that Benoit ruined was already everyone is here, wasn't it?
3-hour Raw.
Yeah,
everyone's here again.
Fuck me. I mean, how stupid is that? Why?
Everyone's got to turn up.
You've got to have the draft mean something immediately after the draft.
Well, he had one show. He had enough now. There was time for Vince's.
Anyway, thank God we've got the greatest segment going in. It's Captain Lou. He's in his home, sitting down having a cold ice beer, and he says, he starts off wonderfully. He says that McMahon has the brain of a dehydrated BB. Yeah,
that was one of his phrases.
Amazing. If you put his brain in a pigeon, it can fly backwards.
That's funny, man. I like that.
It's Captain Lou and he's talking to you.
I'll finish now. I'll just say what I want.
He just ends talking about saying his own catchphrases, laughing to no one. I could just imagine this is how it ended for him. In the corner of some retirement home, chatting and muttering away to himself.
I'm too fat. Billy. All right, Captain.
He had a wonderful life. He's a wonderful man. Amazing.
The man who kept rubber bands in business.
This is a pre-tape.
Yeah.
This is what they got.
You know, Vince sent his crew out. He says, look, just get a 10-minute segment. They come back 4 days later with the biggest videotape library ever.
4 hours. He said one thing. We had to leave. It's still going. Shut up. What have you done? You've set him up.
It's amazing, and he's so much better than the next man.
I completely forgot Captain Lou was on this.
Oh, it's brilliant. Recapping. Oh, so there's more recapping of what's happened, who's moved, and then we get the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, a man who was brought to the WWF and put in polka dots, who was properly in competition with Vince, pretty much as the booker of most of the territories that he was against. His son's come in and been dressed like gold dust and gone to it. There was loads
He's in
of
TNA.
shit he could have said. And he basically talks about perception being reality. He says Vince had the vision to build the Beast Empire in sports entertainment, and whether it's right or wrong, Vince's legacy is on the sign outside that reads sold out. Not sold out, NWO.
Oh, Jesus. What's that in our archive?
Dusty talks about being fired. He says that most of the people who are talking tonight, which again, this really undermines everything. But he basically says everyone who's talked tonight has been fired at some point, and then if they were asked, they would say, "I'll be right back."
Steve-O had been fired. Who the hell are you?
Yeah. And Dusty says that you don't have to like him, but you should respect him. America. I mean, he is the common man. He's against the big corporate Vince. He has missed a fucking open goal. He did. It felt like he turned heel, didn't it?
Turned heel on you all.
I mean, there's a beat at the end where Lola goes, "Yeah,
I agree."
It's like,
I agree.
It's shit. It's terrible. And this is pretty much the last one, isn't it?
Mean Gene's next.
Mean Gene's the last one. And Stone Cold, yeah, but fuck me. That's crap.
I think Stone Cold got the
I thought it was really, really bad. I thought he's going to come out and he's going to be funny, or he's going to do some sort of stuff and shit on bits, because that's what he does, and he's just puts him over.
Well, I just wonder whether
the whole crowd's like, you give us 3 legends.
Now when you say about Stone Cold,
Foley's in the title match and looks sad, and fucking Piper just did a fucking video back.
It's awful.
And then we have Dusty doing this.
It's just, and they had, like I said, when you really look at it, they had Brett, first time ever. Jesse Ventura, first time for ages. They've got Dusty Rhodes, who hadn't been on a lot. You've got Foley back. You've got Austin.
Was he in VW or FCW at the time?
He was in TNA, wasn't he, for ages, and then he got put in the Hall of Fame. So he ain't been on telly.
Not really.
If it's been heavily scripted, they need to give their head a wobble. If they've empowered people to just say what they want. Then some of them are fearful that he's going to fire them.
I may be dead, but I can still fire.
That's the point. They should have said that. You can't fire me, you're dead. But Dusty Rhodes, that is the worst promo Dusty Rhodes ever cut in his entire life, and he once joined the NWO.
He thought, if I said anything, I guarantee they'll just fire Cody because the A-Look coming.
I mean, it's awful. There's a main event battle royal before we get there, though. Mean Gene Okerlund is in his confidential studio.
That's the vintage collection.
He craps on Vince for putting him on Tuesday Night Titans a week before it was cancelled.
That was funny.
And he says, "Hey, remember the time you fired me? Well, I got a better job.
Yeah.
Call the hotline to find out where I went." It's very Oakland. Let's put it that way.
At least he has a go at it.
Yeah, he does. He does have a little go. I mean, whether it was enough to make him break down and...
Probably not. At least he says, "I don't really like you."
Yes. So,
where's that drink?
main event time. Here we go.
Oh, dear.
Battle Royal. Who's in it? There's 5 from each. So, we've got Mark Henry, bona fide Hall of Famer. Matt Hardy, possible future Hall of Famer.
Future endeavours.
Chavo Guerrero, related to all Hall of Famers, probably won't be himself.
Does all right.
Willie Regal will be a Hall of Famer. And Chris Masters.
You're new.
Yep, that's SmackDown. Then we've got Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, and who are feuding with Marcus Corbin, Matt Striker, and Kevin Ford, but they all come out together whilst they seemingly are on the same page until immediately they're not. And then Raw.
I remember story.
Jesus, fuck me.
Poor old Orton.
They have fucked this up. I mean, the only thing
who's going to win this
was Duggan. If they'd have just got Duggan,
Duggan should have moved.
It would have been better if they had gone. Because I mean, when he walks past, you don't realise. Well, how much other shit there was on the roster.
Jimmy Yank's over here.
Who's the big bloke at the end?
The big blonde bloke with the tats. No one knows who he is. He's just like a local worker.
Why are you
when he's going past Dave Taylor and he's still there? Like, what the fuck is this roster? This is beautiful. It's Randy Orton. Hooray. And then you've got him with Kenny Dykstra, desperately in need of some direction.
Well, he moves in the supplemental.
Does he? Johnny Nitro, who does move in the supplemental. He is about to become a world champion. Viscera, who's about to lose his shirt. And
get them tits out.
And a man who I can't believe is still a gimmick in 2007. Fucking Eugene. And he ain't Eugene without that hair, is he?
Don't all of these move apart from Orton?
I think so.
Yeah. Eugene Dykstra and on SmackDown, and Nitro is on ECW, and Orton's still Raw.
Oh.
Orton feels a bit stale here, but he just looks so out of place walking down the aisle.
Yeah.
With Eugene and Viscera in tow.
Yeah, I mean, he tries to sort of hang with Kenny Dykstra, doesn't he? But even I think he looks like fucking hell.
Could we just throw Orton in a match and put Umaga over in this or something?
I mean, they've got King Booker.
I'd stand by it. Just put fucking Duggan instead of Orton and have Orton versus Batista as your big main event or whatever.
Duggan should have won the battle royal.
That's it.
That's his tell.
So I mean, I'm going backstage and I'm seeing the likes of fucking Val and
Super Crazy,
Stevie Richards, Super Crazy with his podge.
Hardcore Ollie somewhere, slapping that big bloke.
Poor London. Awful. The big spots in this match revolve around Viscera and Mark Henry doing the "you can't move me" spot.
That does get a bit of a...
Yeah,
all fat Ben.
And Mark Henry wins that power battle, throwing out Viscera. We have a mid break in the battle royal. Corbin is the only person left for ECW after the break, and he is immediately eliminated by Matt Hardy.
He's gone later.
So Taz and Joey can beat the Rush.
I'm going to say they should have just gone up and saw him walk off. Well, that bad, I got
beating the Rush. Orton's the last Raw left. He's 4 on on one, I think, at one point, with Orton being the last Raw person
I
left.
wonder who's going to win.
He drop kicks out Nitro. There's no brand loyalty, though. And it ends with Matt Hardy doing the Benoit Big Show elimination spot on Mark Henry. Orton plays Sid and sort of dumps him out behind. Matt Hardy does rally a little bit, but he's...
Matt Hardy's a fucking idiot. Why are you eliminating your own person?
Well, all of them can be blamed for that, can't they? I mean, there's no logic to what they're doing.
All the commentators do is moan at the fact that they're going after each other on the same brand.
What the hell are you doing?
That's the problem with these battle royals. Either you've got to have a themed one where they are...
did do either the year after or the following year, where they said the brand that wins. So I think at one point you did have the two.
Was the brand?
No, I mean, but you had like if there was 2 Raw left, then that's it.
Yeah, no, but
I thought that's what would have happened here. But
yeah, they wouldn't have carried on if Orton and Eugene was left because Raw have won.
Or would they?
We need to know.
I think if you're gonna do it where there's a breakdown, unless there's a proper hot storyline going on, and no one is feuding with anyone in this,
it's just the ECW.
You've got to.
I think you've
got to have a reason for him to win the. But so if it leads to a title shot or something, at least it can create some logic in it.
Where's my title shot?
If not, just don't do a battle royal. You don't need to. You said there's enough triple threats you could have had or whatever. Yeah, but it's crap book though.
It's an easy segment. It's a battle royal.
Yeah.
This leads to Snitsky.
Orton wins. Snitsky is out. Oh well, Raw's won the last 2 draft picks, so they actually win the night. I think they win 4-3-3.
They always win 4-3-3.
Yeah.
4-3-2.
No, I think ECW got 3, didn't they?
No, Boogie and Benoit.
Well, they got
ECW.
1 technically.
It was a bad night for ECW, really.
We didn't get everyone.
We lost the champ and we got the Boogeyman.
Snitsky is out in all his horridness. He's the first draft pick. And then Kennedy is the last draft pick. And I can't help but feel he gets a mild pop because he's slightly interested. But no one cares. We do see loopy Vince McMahon backstage because we're not done yet. Stone Cold is going to do the last spot. And even he has to cut to... do you remember all the fun things we did in the past... sort of clip show episode.
They should have had the Austin clips where he's doing the guitar.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's crap. He goes on about the beer truck. We see the cement in the Corvette, the Dr. Stone Cold, the bedpan, the Zamponi, and then at the very least they just let him go profanity laced, but they do the bleeps at the right time. It's fine, but again, I mean, did Vince expect Stone Cold to go? I like him. I don't
I like you.
I love you.
Yeah,
I shook your hand at Mania.
Why don't they end with like it's Shane or
or Stephanie or
he's a bit of a twatty.
Exactly, just anyone.
Linda. That one of the
divorce. The whole zombify you.
No, it should have been Zombie Linda just sat there.
That should have been how it carried on. So in about 3 weeks, you should have seen them both just comatose, staring at a tree.
What a long reach.
You ain't done. You wrote down your booking. Zombify. You zombify the McMahons. Rod McMahon wins.
This was my plan all along.
So we get now told that even though the supplementary draft is still going on and we don't quite understand the rules of the supplementary draft, we're immediately told, don't worry, none of that will impact on Vengeance. Here's the main event.
It's basically all the mid-carders we can shuffle them.
Yeah, it's Cena versus Lashley, who the editing team haven't bothered to remove the CW title from. It's almost there to remind people, oh yeah, he is a world champ.
Yeah, you see, I think that's one of the
Title for title.
Mick Foley, King Booker, and Randy Orton. And then Vince McMahon walks out. He doesn't do his walk. He's very distant.
So, on this, I forgot about this. So, on this, they put the main event of them. But now they announce the main event on the next Raw. Don't Coach come out and say it, or have I got the wrong
Coach does come out and
I didn't watch
it, but he don't.
It's definitely announced
that. Okay, Vengeance, we've got this.
No, they did
when
do the
they
package.
Start pointing.
Yeah, they did do the package.
So I was like, well, what the fuck you just put that up for if the next week you're going to announce it?
It's almost as if no one gives a shit at this point. Vince is very distant.
To die.
Yes, someone die.
TikTok.
Vince is very distant. He's handed the microphone and then he sort of mutters, "Thank you."
Got shaky on.
He shakes and drops it, and then he somberly walks backstage as we see sort of the crowd not giving a shit. We then immediately follow Vince backstage as he.
I think it's all over.
He walks through the locker room of. And I literally have put it. It's for my notes only. I've still put it in brackets. Talent.
No, it should be quotation marks.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ! You got Super Crazy. You got Scotty Two Hotties, and they're green
Val's.
You were even on the show.
Oh, Phil could get a match. I bet he's naked under there.
Shut up! They were licking his thumb as Vince is going by.
Hello, Val.
Talk about my contract.
You're fired. Get in that limo.
Obviously, the biggest thing that this part is remembered for is the weird grin. Like, there is no reason for him to be that cheerful.
As well, look at Kendrick. Even he's like trying not to laugh.
It is weird that he decided, I will just do a big spot.
I mean, he wasn't fired. The sort of mythology that surrounds that he was fired immediately after is immediately not the case because he's in the next match. But and he wasn't. So if he tries to peddle that nonsense,
he said
he wasn't fired. Yeah,
he didn't.
I think he was fired because of some drug thing though as well.
Yeah,
I think he was.
We did it. Even.
Yeah, he could tell he loves the old weed.
He is a bit mentally.
Yeah, but. I've got to say, in defence of Vince or anyone who admonished him, it is stupid. Just it's not your gimmick. If it was Hugh Morris, I understand, but you're not laughing Paul London.
No, it's strange that it's such an over the top cheesy.
Is this the Jey Uso picture from the 2K24?
Everybody else at least does the thing of they've stopped having a chat.
Yeah,
I don't know why they're all chatting in a line.
I love that. That's how I believe all locker rooms are.
Health and safety. The after middle, so people can walk.
1992 would have been wonderful, going from Skinner to Colonel Mustafa, Warlord sharpening his W.
And then you got Bo Beverly smiling. You fired Bo.
Why did you not do this in the early 90s, Vince? It would have been brilliant.
In so many years, I'm going to fire your son.
What a snapshot in time.
It's a weird time. Vince heads the wrong way. I did wonder whether that was ever going to be a tie-in that he thought his limo was that way, then was redirected by the coach, and that could have linked in somehow to the storyline. Again, maybe I'm giving him fart. It's like the Who Shot Mr. Burns thing where we're all pontificating on who it could be, and they always were going to go with Maggie and disappoint everyone.
Oh, Waylon Smith.
Yes.
Who's the big bloke again? Who is he?
Yeah, it's a strange scene. There's a very evident cut. I do like the. And it goes outside, and immediately it feels like it's a different scene. Which
and then he stares at these two blokes that have just sat there.
Yeah, Lenny and Carl are doing something. He sort of stares, puzzled. He does sort of drop the stare very briefly as well to do a sneer, doesn't he? Like,
this game in the limo.
Fucking bastard.
Stinks in here.
I don't quite understand as well because they talk to the limo driver.
We'll get to the.
I didn't see that.
Where are you?
Where is he? Why was he getting into a limo without a driver? Because shouldn't he be dead?
They do explain it, but the state.
Oh, they do. They do explain it. Oh, okay, fair enough. So at this point, I didn't understand what was happening.
He's got a great look.
And, and he puts his foot in and out and shakes it all about. That's what it's all about. And the limo explodes. It is. I remember WWE.com immediately after and all that, and I think there's obviously the artwork that I want for the podcast, the in memory of Vince McMahon. I love that sort of grin, but the fact that they put that up and people genuinely thought he was dead.
The stock prices went down because of it. Because everybody was confused.
What are you doing? But yes, so Vince McMahon has left this mortal coil. He's fell off. He's did do all the. He is a dead.
I guarantee Vince would have had him like shoot up in the air.
Like in Mortal Kombat 50 fucking car bones fall down.
Yeah, that would have been brilliant. I mean,
And about like 3 rib cages.
they should have better production value. They should have crushed him, shouldn't they? Or they should have done something.
It's such a weird thing of how are you then going to say that he wasn't in that limo when he comes back? Or is he going to come back like the Fiend and burned?
Burnt Vince. Burnt Vince.
Which should have been when this will come later. When they put the fire out, he should have still been sat there, coughing with his hair up and all the black stuff. I didn't like that doing cartoons when they got shot.
I think they had to have a more evident cut, as stupid as it may seem, especially because they can't believe that the crowd. They have to accept that this is above kayfabe. Like, you can't tell this and in such a way that people think he's dead, because it can't work. Like, I know everyone's got to kind of accept this is a storyline.
Yeah.
Everything else you have to suspend your belief, but you kind of just have to accept this is a storyline, which is fine. It is a bit sort of Russo, where you want certain things to be kayfabe, certain things to be shoot, but I get it. So to me, you would have been better off doing a little cut where he got into the limo and then you maybe saw Coach's face saying ta-ra. Like that.
Man, that's not why.
Yeah.
It was Tim White all along.
Then, like in the Naked Gun, just a big troop of marching band or elephants. And it gets more and more cartoony.
That would have made this show better. After the 3 hours,
But I do think because it was
And then they should have announced another draft pick for Raw.
Oh, he's dead. In the middle of the show, he goes up, the limo explodes. I thought he was just a content SmackDown.
Well, don't worry. Within 2 weeks, he's still in the car park. That limo. I mean, they're very slow in doing anything. The feds. Yeah. I mean, it's iconic. It will definitely be in the top 20 endings of Raw, probably ever.
Yeah.
But it's an absolute shit show. Like, and I mean shit show. This episode of Raw is dog shit. Like, it is awful.
He should have had one of them seats instead of the limo blowing up. He should have been on the seat and then gone up.
Yes, I mean, just
to show it stuff like that.
I just think there's better ways. He could have gone missing, or
It's not Dirty Dead,
but he could have done like the Cactus Jack. It could have been Krusty the Clown when he went to join the.
He should have come back like Ian Beale. Tramp Vince.
Tramp Vince would have been fucking beautiful.
Big beard and the one
That is a brilliant. Write that down.
There we go. That's not repockets.
Showing the big elaborate limo exploding, which looks great, don't get me wrong. It's just, how do you then, because he's got to come back, that's the storyline, so how do you then explain, I did not die in this
you've got to assume that either someone tried to kill him and he somehow survived, which is like convoluted.
Yeah,
because it blew up when he closed the door.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Or you've got to assume he faked his own death, and then try and work on the basis of why that happened.
Yeah,
and that is, in a nutshell, is why this is very, very, very difficult to rebook, because neither make any sense. Like, in that, why can they not put themselves into a better position in terms of his death? Well, they ought to have done the shot. Who shot Phil Mitchell, or something like that.
Yeah, you should have walked backstage, and then you hear the gunshot, and then he comes back out,
staggering,
and rolled all the way down the ramp.
He could have dropped on a thing, and it pointed to M&S, and that stands for.
It pointed to J and D, Jim Duggan. It was you, Jim. And I'd do it again. Yeah. Oh!
That's
the last thing I heard when I got shot was oh!
Should have said, we've done an autopsy, he's covered in splinters.
He had a blood object to the back of the head. It could have been a 2-bar sure.
It's just difficult because it's a like a taker where it's a mythical character and you can kill it off.
Yeah, you
and
can send Taker to
I've had 2 in NXT where Tony D, who's the mob boss, has killed off people who have been written off TV or been released, which is fine. They can sort of get away with it.
Yeah.
But this is Vince McMahon, the owner of company. How do you kill that man off?
That's what I'm saying. Is that unless they wanted to go down the route of what the company's going to look like in his absence, in his death, and then the McMahons fighting and squabbling over that. Really, you could have done exactly what you wanted to by just putting him in a coma. That's what I'm saying. Just have him shot, and then you could, when you wanted to bring him back like Santa. You could have seen Vince's feet taking along. He could have started doing that in the bed. He's alive again. Convinced.
Don't remind me of that show. Well, he does have a coma angle, though.
If he hadn't gone into a coma, I wonder if the death he would have been able to continue that. Because he didn't have to appear to do he definitely didn't have to do a tribute to Chris Benoit after he murdered 2 people.
Yeah, he didn't have to be on the show.
But he wouldn't have had to have been on the show. Once on the death one, you can't continue that storyline after he's died. And they have to immediately sort of go, forget everything.
I think Sherry died around this time.
Well, on the next Raw, they announce have a graphic for Sherry.
Oh, Sherry dies. He was coming back, apparently, according to Dark Side. I love Dark Side of the Ring. Dark Side of the Ring, I love it because whoever the family member is, they always say, and he was coming back. I tell you, Buff Bagwell, before he's going to come back, or Earthquake.
When promised the bell.
They
Brutus, I'm better than George Clooney. And even Greg, no, it wasn't Greg. It was Knobs who went, fuck off.
We go to SmackDown then. How are we going to sort this shit out? So we get a warning immediately. I don't know whether this has been put on after the Benoit shit or whether it actually happened on the SmackDown itself where they said, warning, fictional character is dead. They don't believe it. You know what I mean?
I think it was probably after
the Benoit thing. So it says he's got depictions.
He's not dead. Not dead.
We get a narrated package of highlights by a somber JBL, and Michael Cole. Then we get the 10-bell salute with the SmackDown roster watching on. JBL is absolutely appalled by the fans who boo and catcall.
Well, they say that, and I thought, it was pretty quiet. I mean,
yeah, I think they did cut a lot of the
You don't get that Carlisle fan going, come on!
A lot of people boo. Like a lot of them were just like.
Some was laughing.
Forget it. Yeah.
Bollocks.
We then get a private statement read to the press, so we're supposed to believe this is a press conference from the WWE, basically saying there's a federal investigation into the death of the presumed death. I think this is what they start using. The presumed death of Vince McMahon.
Can't find a body.
The first match is a title match between Deuce and Domino and London and Kendrick, which is a fairly, I'd say, clean win for Deuce and Domino. It's probably as good as I ever saw Deuce and Domino in that match as well. They seem to be getting a little bit better. They immediately separated as a team very soon.
Following year?
Yeah, I think they're still team for a year.
Yeah.
And then Deuce and Domino.
Kendrick and London are a very good team, I think. I think they, again, lost.
I agree.
I think they should have been the team. This should have been their new day of this era, I think.
You had to go and smile, you know.
I know, but they always went back to the Hardys, and to me, they're much better than the Hardys. At this point, they're much better than the Hardys. What you put in them, why? I think these are separated not long after this, aren't they?
They both moved to Raw in the supplemental, which is why they're on Raw when this is being shown.
Yeah, this is very confused. I got confused with this.
But they do reference him smiling. Well, JBL references him smiling, I think, in this match.
Does he?
Yeah, on commentary.
Oh, okay.
So they could have at least done something where he gets punished or whatever.
Well, not only that, couldn't they have?
Then he's gone to Raw and coaches.
I think by Raw, are we already starting you might have done it.
Yeah.
Because they don't quite do it here, but they could have at least started doing that, couldn't they? And said, well, hang on, he was smiling, weren't he?
Gotta be London, ain't it? Who else could it be?
This will get me a push.
Yeah. Edge is going to face Flair in our main event. Batista's going to fight MVP. William Regal cuts a passionate story. He's brilliant.
Midget story.
So again, whether you accept this or not, given that it is a fictional character, some will always say this is a little bit like using the Owen Hart voice thing is sort of thrown at him sometimes for storylines. I'm not as bothered by that because I think they do it. There is a little bit of
he's talking about El Snow and midgets.
Yes,
come on, then.
There's no way he would have told that story.
I kissed it off.
It was a pleasure.
If it was real, they wouldn't have had a smack in it.
And he still stays in gimmick by saying he's the only American he ever respected. So, well, Regal. Long then cuts a promo, which is a bit more sort of maybe true to life in that he puts over McMahon, and McMahon would have loved this. He referenced him in the same breath as Martin Luther King.
Say it, pal.
Yep. Oh, dear. Anyway, Regal fights Matt Hardy next, and it's a good match. I really liked it. I thought Regal worked really well.
Mocked his hair. For some reason. And then you see the limo driver. You don't say anything about him.
He works old. He's definitely developing from cartoony into his more sort of sinister Regal.
Yeah, I think his following year, is it? He goes King of the Ring and mental.
Loads of money
with
in
his
Regal. Real proper old school heel. Plays heel throughout.
Had he had his first suspension yet?
No, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Which is a shame, really, that he was struggling because he could have definitely been a much higher tier talent. And Matt Hardy is in desperate need of some direction, but does get the win. I think of the matches I saw, this was by far the best match.
Yeah, this was a good match. I did enjoy it.
Gillian Hall cuts a promo about the loss of McMahon, very sombre. And then Cole takes us behind the scenes of Raw, which is a whole 10 minutes of us watching the fire being...
it's just so long, mate. Like, they just linger on that shot of him blowing the water into the back window. It must go on for like 3 minutes. But the same now, like the front's still burning, and just... It's fucking done, I've seen... Come on, move on.
That should have just been in the back. It should have been in the back, smoking a fag.
That should have been like when the Hawk wandered in.
You know on the cartoons when they have the cigar and it explodes on the face? That's what Vince should have had, still had a cigar up on his face. I blew it up.
I get the thing, and it's an okay little segment to it, but it just goes on.
On and on.
Why say you just keep this for the .com or something? Do you want to
Exactly. Either move this storyline on very, very quickly. This does not move it on. Chavo, and again, timing wise, obviously, especially for Chavo, because what's going to happen in a week? But yeah, it's.
I've just got a text.
I don't want to get a text from Vince. Fucking hell. They're dread to think what that'd say.
He's fired, man. Vince should have done that in the middle of one of them and kept it in. You see him look at his phone and he'd been fired. He's like, right, that's it, I'm off.
Yeah. He calls Vince a jerk but says they were lucky to have him. It's not brilliant. MVP is out. So we find out that he's going to immediately defend against Flair. Fine with that. He's got history with the US title, ties in with the main belt feud as well. I have got an issue with him fighting Batista immediately before that to just lose to Batista, make him look weaker in the process, just to keep. And he is the.
That's what we do to our mid-card champs.
It's awful, absolutely awful. For me, it was the wrong way what they did with the two matches. You should have had Flair win because it ain't going to work Edge to lose to Flair, and you should have had MVP beat Batista because of Edge, because Batista has everything to lose in that match.
Yeah.
And the Flair winning and MVP winning elevates their match, and Flair is a credible threat to MVP. The match was fine. I think MVP is like of the mid-card talent they've got. And there's
he's the one ready for the next level.
He is the one ready for the next level. Is he already been burnt by Kane?
Yes, he's already had his horse set on fire.
Dear
Where
me.
was Kane? What was he he doing at this point?
He should have been in the back of that limo. He should have gone. It was all my fault. I sprained my arms, and then it just went up in flames.
That's what he should have done that. Oh. Just stretch. Oh shit!
Anytime you stretch, you can find him. Oh crap!
Bloody hell, Kane. With that, I've said it, I've already referenced it. This is my favourite promo of all we've watched. Even Captain Lou sort of cutting a promo on Vince being a leader. They got into the foxhole and the trenches with them. Promises to keep fighting for his truth and the American way. It's a wonderful on point. You believe that it's him. It's like Sergeant Slaughter has done it. You understand, Slaughter understand. I'm a sergeant. That's what I do. I want my country.
When he saluted, I thought he was going to say, Vince, you're dismissed. You're maggot.
Yeah, puke.
Loved it. I thought it was brilliant. It was best, and certainly on of these sort of little khaki tribute videos, it was the best one.
Yeah, I thought it was the best one. All Regal.
Oh, Regal was good as well. Daniel Beck, Sam was correct, is our federal lead investigator, and it looks like he's been filmed on some sort of the oldest camera ever. We've gone back to the 80s.
Some Nokia, I think.
Yeah. I thought there was going to be that person from the Blair Witch Project at one point.
Isn't there Vince behind him? Hello, pal.
He basically says nothing. It's an open case, and we're going to look into it. Edge cuts a promo now. WWE have lost their rudder. You've lost any sort of luster.
What's he doing?
Don't need Edge to do it.
Well, chap.
Crystal puts over McMahon even though he's never met him. That's basically what she said.
Who the hell are you then?
I barely ever spoke to him, but he was nice, he was. Chavo's out next, and he's going to find out who he'll be defending against at the night of Champions. Unfortunately, as much as I would argue these are four really good workers, but they've all been watered down so much that they don't feel like them good workers, which is a shame.
It's the death of the everything dies.
The thing is, though, there's just as much talent here as there was in any cruiserweight division ever, I would argue, because you've got quite a diverse roster of people. Shannon Moore, okay, he is a bit sort of Marmite, but he has got a different gimmick in terms of him being.
Well, he had the thing on.
Well, this is the thing. I think he has. If you're watching this as a fan on the Friday night, you already know that Daivari has gone to Raw, and Shannon Moore, I believe, is on ECW. So and I think Noble might go to Raw. So,
well, Noble's a perfect example of someone who had a decent, strong sort of trailer park gimmick. They even put that over when he's coming out, where he says he wants to grow up. But he's coming out to his pit bull.
Yeah, he's coming out to Kid Cash's thing.
Yeah,
with bulldogs barking.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, sorry.
It's affected you, this Jamie Noble. But I like Jimmy Wang Yang is over. It's a gimmick that's going to live in its short shelf life, and for the time that it lives, it will be enjoyable. It is a very fun sort of gimmick. He's the one who goes over. I am disappointed, though, as you say, that by the end of this, 2 out of the 3, or even potentially 3 out of the 4, are out of the cruiserweight division. That already feels massively irrelevant.
Well, the cruiserweight division's out in general by Great American Bash.
Yeah.
That's when he drops it to Swoggle. In a month, basically.
It's a bad time. But, yeah, I've got no issues with the match. It's very much spot fest. Get your shit in 7 minutes.
That's what the division is, eh?
You can't. I mean, again, the thing is, Chavo is a good champion because he does give a little bit of credibility to it in terms of storyline. Immediately to our main event, then. So this is what I'm saying about JBL. Respect to him in the fact that he puts over how big and important Ric Flair is in history and also to SmackDown. He does feel probably the most over, even out of Batista, I would say. He feels almost the top babyface of the show. We basically get a bit of Flair highlights, gets his shit in. He does a lot of the spots that you'd expect. It ends in a DQ because MVP comes out to save Edge. Again, I think it's a bit formulaic in terms of we saved the heel rather than cost the babyface. To me, it would have been better to flip the two results, as I said. and Ric Flair getting a massive win over the world champion. If then Batista did win, and I know he doesn't, you could argue then Flair saying, well, I beat the world champion, I should be in line. If Edge wins and Batista loses, you've got a credible feud. I've beat you recently. If he wins the US title, he's the number one contender. That's the rule, isn't it? Apparently. So I think they still were making bad booking decisions. On the whole, it just felt like a SmackDown that they were trying to feed their way back into where are we now?
Yeah, we've got a pay-per-view next week.
Yeah.
We've got to continue with storylines, but also this storyline is
has to dominate everything.
Company now.
Yeah, I mean, it was better than the Raw.
It was an hour less, and it felt a bit more. At least it ties into actual storylines.
Yep.
There was only one thing that mattered on Raw, and the other 2 hours and 59 minutes didn't.
Yes. So I'll throw to you then, Jack, to just pick us up on what happened on the next Raw.
So the next Raw, it opens with Foley,
Yeah.
who's in the ring, and he just basically says he regrets his comments from the week before.
Why?
And then, because Vince's blew up.
I don't want him to die.
Well, I know, you know. I didn't mean it.
I said what I said. He's dead.
And the usual, Randy comes out, he accuses Mick.
I've read your book.
Booker comes out, and his suit is huge. I mean, it's massive.
And he ain't got his accent.
No, it sort of flicks in and out of having it, not having it. He just goes, well, I think he's Lashley. It must be him. He's a bastard.
He's been talking to the investigator.
Autumn blames Foley. He
Booker
blames
Lashley. Obviously, Lashley comes out, who then hits Booker. Then John comes out because he's in the
semi-doofy Cena.
Semi-doofy, who sort of says Vince has many enemies, and then he does this sort of rhyming thing of people.
Yeah, the drunk in the balcony, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker,
the XFL he mentioned as well for some reason.
Yeah, they wonder why he was getting booed at this point.
Yeah. Then the coach comes out, just shills Vengeance.
I thought this is where he meant the match.
Well, he just sort of shills it, and then he makes
the tag match.
Orton and Booker versus Lashley and Cena for the main event, and then he says, "Vince has read your book." To Mick Foley.
He might read your book,
and you were a naughty man in there. So he makes Foley the Umaga for the show. Then we get our first actual match, which is Lundrick versus the world's greatest tag team.
This is where my network screwed up. Because London and Kendrick's music was playing, but he was in the middle of the match. So I thought, is this a recap of something? And then I kept watching it.
It'll catch up.
And then the world's greatest tag team Steve come out. And then I think it was like then he caught up, and it was the end. I thought, that's brilliant. I wasn't thinking, no, I'm going to leave it like that. That's funny.
I forgot that they were still a team. The world's greatest tag team.
Well, they just Charlie Haas was on Raw, put him back with Shelton until we could find Charlie.
I think he turned heel, Eddie Charlie, because he bounced off the ropes and not Lillian off the ropes.
Yeah, he did.
That turned him heel.
That's a wonderful
thing. Did break her ankle or
something? It just led to him being with Shelton again.
Yeah, wonderful.
But it's the reference Paul London smiling again. Jerry Lawler does. It's a decent enough match, and London and Kendrick get a pretty clean win over the world's greatest tag team. So
they're moving them up in there.
You feel like they're going to be the main.
Who are the Raw?
Cade and Murdoch.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, Coach is backstage and is with Daniel Beck, who's the lead investigator. Nothing really happens. I think it's just that Daniel Beck is going to go and talk to some people throughout the show.
I'm going to talk, kind of.
Carlito has a little in-ring thing where he talks about Flair, and he basically says, "My feud is over," because they're on SmackDown. And randomly, Sandman comes out and chases him off. He comes out, he bleeds because he's hit his head, and chases him off, and this is now your feud.
Oh, wonderful.
Crime time.
No.
Crime time.
Yeah.
Crime time have a pretty shit segment selling
I'm going
all
to
of
sell his cold dinner. Rolled dinner. That's what
They've gone into
stuff
like
for Vince.
his.
Oh, Vince is
they've gone
cold
into-
dinner.
They don't talk.
Oh, his
somber.
last meal, like.
Yeah,
They talk somber, and then they say, "But we've got into his office, and we've talked all this stuff."
You don't want to go in Vince's
And they
office.
talk
You
about
don't know
his
what's in there.
cold dinner and all this.
Fuck's sake.
It just goes on really long and not very funny. And then Daniel Beck interrupts him and says, "Need to have a word with you."
Hey, there's a bit racial profiling going on here. But,
There, Devani v Jeff Hardy.
Speaking of racial.
This is where we got confused when I saw London and Kendrick then Davari.
So Javari's on Raw now.
Devani's on Raw now. He's fighting Jeff Hardy. Kane and Murdoch are on commentary, not on commentary themselves.
What? Hang on. So they're still in the feud with Jeff?
No, I think they must fight him at Night of Champions, haven't they?
No ask.
Jeff basically
Don't
wins
ask
with the
questions.
swan song, and then Cade gets on the mic and says the Hardy Boys, you know, whatever. And Jeff times on them both anyway. So the shit on him.
So is Matt not there?
No,
So
Jeff just gets the better of him on his own.
You're fucking shit.
Then we lead into this backstage skit that Sammy
Clearly Vince is booking this from beyond the grave with Berry the tank.
Coach is on the phone, and I don't know who he's on the phone to because I don't think they had to say. And then somebody walks in. And then the person who walks in is the Iron Sheik.
Oh,
And this is when he talks about what is his own show on Raw.
But then Coach goes, I'm busy at the minute. And then she goes, you're a very busy man. And then he carries on. And then you see Ron like tap him to go, I've got to do my bit.
oh, it's his damn
This
spot.
is just a damn
But when he does it, part of his head cuts off. When he
So
pushes
he
it
sort of taps him, and then he goes, damn. And then when he just sells it, then like
the
ring of his head falls off. So it's a weird bit. Regal's on Raw as well. So
Oh, has he
he's moved. He's just talking to Maria.
The Italian.
Santino turns up and Regal just calls him the Italian.
Oh, just setting a scene for their feud. Then.
Well, they
I don't have a
they
feud.
don't fight on here anyway. I don't know whether he fights him at Night of Champions. Who's he fight, Santino? I don't even know.
I don't think he's Regal.
No, he must be on it. Todd, this is Sam's favourite segment of Todd with the limo driver.
Yeah.
Ah,
He's got a weird head.
Yes, that's gotta be a wig.
Tash. He's such a weird
It's
head.
the least looking. Is the most Mexican, not Mexican looking man.
He has like this. He has like 3-4 minutes of him talking, and he don't really say anything.
Me and my wife had problems. I went round the back to talk to
Took a
her
phone
because
call.
the reception was better. And when I come back,
I
boom!
think they basically referenced that he took a phone call, and maybe he could be implicated because the cell phone could then set off a bomb or something like that.
So it could be his wife.
So it could be his wife, the limo driver's wife, the non-Mexican limo driver's wife who killed Vince. It's like Thiago Silva's wife who just tweets about Chelsea all the time. Mick Foley and Umaga never happens because basically Umaga, they have a brawl and then Umaga does this charge into the stairs.
So that we're a week away from Vengeance, and they just buried Foley.
Yeah, they just buried him.
He hits Umaga over the end with the chair and then just gets beat up.
Beats up and then he does the charge into the steps and Umaga goes a bit too far and then he falls over.
But immediately, Sky Bet, they pushed his odds out.
Daniel Beck's backstage and he talks to Cena. Don't really say anything, but you just see him talking to him.
Yeah.
Then a limo, for some reason, reverses.
Yeah.
It doesn't drive forward. It's a white limo. And it
okay.
reverses into the arena.
But don't Jim Ross go, after what happened last week, I wouldn't want to be in any limo. Or something like that. And I'm putting the limo up in the
Jesus Christ.
Nobody gets out of it.
Oh, okay. They're
And
playing
then
now.
I love this.
We'll get
I
out.
love this moment because Daniel Beck then tries to talk to Foley.
Who's being assessed by the doctor for having a concussion?
Foley's pop.
The doctor's not looking and saying, "Kid, do you know where you are?" And then he goes, "I want to speak to you." And the doctor goes, "Fuck off." He taught me.
He's still trying to talk to an obviously concussed man. What are you doing, Daniel Beck? This isn't a very good bloody investigation. Kennedy's out. It goes on a long time.
Yeah,
This it's like 10 minutes, this promo, and he just
Get to the point.
You don't like the crowd and the disrespect and all that
Is he out
stuff.
doing this, or is it backstage?
Yeah,
No,
he's
he's
in the
out.
ring with the dark and the spotlight and the mic.
Yeah.
Just goes on a bit, and he puts over Vince, and he dedicates his career to Vince and
Okay.
He both named Ken.
Kennedy.
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So it sort of sows seeds. that
Did Vince McMahon?
I like Vince.
Yeah. Oh, I like Vince. Yeah.
Show the limo again. That's backstage, the white one, and then the graphic for Sensational Sherry comes up. So so Sherry and Lawler and JR like have to talk about somebody who's actually died, and then flip back to somebody who hasn't died.
It wouldn't surprise me if they'd have gone, and we found that Sherry was in that limo as well.
Melina and Gillian and fighting Mickey James and Candice Michelle.
Yes.
In a tag team match. I think Candice fighting Melina at the pay-per-view.
So, yeah.
Melina wins anyway with the splits DDT because,
Is there only one women's belt at this point?
Yeah, they are.
the Divas comes in that money. Great American Bash too, I think.
Really? I thought
Is it that year or is it the year after? It's Natalia v Michelle McCool.
It'll be the year after because Natalia don't come into
They recap the limo exploding and then they show the white limo again for another time. Just in case you didn't know, there's a limo here.
Not the same limo.
We'll just show it 50 times. Orton and Booker v Cena and Bobby Lashley happens.
Yes.
The man, Randy Orton is the one who gets the win with the RKO
Yeah.
onto John Cena. He beats John Cena. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he beats Cena. Because Bobby gets in and gets a hot tag. Sorry, it's Bobby who gets pinned. Excuse me.
So Bobby
Cena,
immediately, now he's fighting with the big boys, he loses.
Cena takes all sort of the heat and then Bobby gets the hot tag and gets in clean out. But then Booker just kicks Cena and blind tag by Orton RKO and I've won.
Right.
Laugh at you. Who's getting out the limo? Stephanie McMahon. But before we get to Stephanie McMahon, we must have a promo for Snitsky.
Snitsky's going to come to Raw next week.
The hype that he's coming next week.
He was on last week.
I don't think...
He's coming back.
He's had a week off. Now he's going to fight
He was in morning.
Brilliant.
He'll be here next week. I don't think he will. Something's going to happen. Steph is starting to coach, and then she comes out and she talks next to each show, and she talks about her dad, and then she does the very horrible crying, Dad, and runs off up the ramp, and then that's it. That's the end of the show.
I think that should have still debuted Snitsky on the Benoit tribute.
It was a weird sort of way to end.
Was it better than?
He does say vengeance will be had as well.
So it ties slightly into it.
So it does almost like say something might happen on Vengeance, but nothing does. I don't think to do with that. In fact, I think if you watch the Vengeance pay-per-view, I don't think they really ever talk.
Well, I get the impression because they know by the show what has happened, they have to pull back. Like they might not know. They certainly know someone is dead. So I think.
I think they might have known that Nancy. Well, they said Nancy was ill.
I think they do the thing before.
I thought the Friday, then it was the Saturday the kid, and then him on the Sunday.
Yeah, but during Vengeance, isn't that when they discover that he's dead?
Yeah, that's when he sent a message to Chavo.
No, it's the one before Raw then.
Before Raw, yeah.
And then they
on the Monday when they properly find out, because on the Monday they have Curse there and people in funeral outfits.
And Austin makes a joke saying, "Oh, it's like somebody died," and then apparently you just went because obviously somebody had died, but obviously he was taking the piss because of Vince. But it was like, no.
Oh, was Austin on that show?
He was meant to be there as well because I was going to have everybody there in like suits.
Everybody's got to be there. Don't you see the promo? Everybody is required. Forget the draft that we just did. Even legends.
But I mean, considering
get super crazy in a
promo as well. With saying Vengeance will be ours. I mean, he's lucky that Vince died before Vengeance. Imagine if he died before the Great American Bash. Or No Way Out. No Way Out will be out.
There will be a SummerSlam. Oh, that
will be
wonderful.
There will be great balls of fire.
Actually, that kind of thing.
But that's the end of it. So it's a pretty... Because the crowd don't know how to react, because obviously they know it's all fake.
But then it's difficult to like boo a legitimate crying woman.
You can hear a tiny smattering of titters, I would say, at the
JBL still angry.
But everybody else just sits there quiet because they're like, I don't know how to react.
Yeah.
The show has ended. There is probably a dark match there.
Those people who were laughing saw the statement put out by WWE about it because of the stock price.
It was pretty.
I spoke to Trump.
A lot of the stuff is just Daniel Beck randomly talking to people backstage.
But it does feel like it does sound like they've at least moved the storyline to the point where we now are considering.
It's now a whodunit.
Yeah.
Straight away, you did it.
And then I think, I mean, the reason I only did one segment for the next SmackDown is because I think if you watch the whole show, other than odd references and maybe recap of the things, there's no sort of like Daniel Beck backstage. The main thing that happens on the next SmackDown, which I think is either on the cutting edge or it's certainly Edge starts the show.
Yeah.
Is Tori Wilson, isn't it?
Yeah, so
it's your fault.
He conducted the last interview with Vince Eber, is what Edge says.
Did he?
Edge did.
Yeah. It must have been on the cutting edge or something like
yeah.
that. And then he brings Tori out and he accuses Tori because Vince made Tori versus Carlito.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason.
When he also seduced Vince when she first came over.
Oh, that's when he was...
Because the show.
The show where Linda was going to make WC.
And then MVP comes out and he says Edge is overzealous and all that sort of stuff. But then he basically joins with Edge and says, "Yeah, you've done it. You should have a lie detector." And then the protector of all women, Ric Flair, comes out.
As soon as that happened, I thought of all the people to come out and woo!
And he just punches Edge.
A woman has been besmirched. Send out Flair.
He should have come out in his robe, naked, whirly birding his peanuts.
Don't talk to a woman like that. Woo! He just punches Edge and MVP. Heels get on top, and then Batista comes out.
And then tag back Flair.
Of course.
That's it.
And yeah, obviously, Vengeance then happened. And
on Vengeance, the ECW title match, where everybody chanted "That was name."
We did all the.
Well, yeah, because that sadly, was the title change. We can't change that. But yes, of course, what happened? Sadly, was that Benoit murdered his wife and child and then killed himself. And that, of course, derailed the storyline completely. And it was reneged, and I believe Vince was back on TV, Dancing with Crime Time, within a month. Yeah. So, yes, there we have it. That is the ballad of Vince, the death of Vince McMahon. I suppose before we get to the rebooking, which predominantly, look, let's face it, this is a rebooking podcast more so than anything else. But as a storyline for what we saw, it is difficult to be really critical of it because who knows?
Who knows where it would have gone.
But for what we saw is all we can judge. Any thoughts on that storyline?
It's fucking awful. A death's difficult, but there are many a lot worse. That first show is just shit. The only good thing is it blows up, but then it's the worst thing because then you think, well, how do we get round this?
It's terrible. I mean, the first show is so bad in terms of just the idea that this is...
I mean, the draft show should have just been the draft show. You don't need to then add a storyline of someone's going to die.
Well, not only that, do you actually need... At this point, we've established Vince McMahon has lost his marbles. Why do we... What are we trying to do to try and... Why does that tie into the appreciation night if it doesn't make him snap, right?
Yeah, well,
but he doesn't feel that happens. So if that isn't what happened, and even that he doesn't reference, if we saw his reaction get worse and worse each time, and his psyche break,
Coach sits him down to watch these BTs, but then they all shit on him.
Yeah, that would make more sense. But if that's not the case, just don't do it. Don't do the appreciation, because as you've got to renege on all of that after. When everyone goes, "Oh, sad he's dead," isn't it? Like
first Raw after finally goes, "Oh, Didn't mean that.
Yeah, you could have.
That's what I mean. He's dead. Just go, all right, he's dead.
You could have had all of them
the
watching the monitor in the back. Coach could have demanded all the superstars show Vince respect with his last promo of the draft. That's why they're all there. That explains that. You don't need anything other than that. Then his promo's fucking bonkers. Then he walks through them, and there's that. I suppose then you might. I think the idea is they're almost saying everyone's a suspect.
Yeah.
Is what they're trying
Even
to get
Val.
to. Even Val. Even this random blonde tattooed guy.
Who is he? I thought it was Jindrak.
I don't know.
But everything that they did just to set the scene was bad.
Yeah.
And then I think they wasted the first SmackDown, although admittedly it feels like a Raw storyline. So I'll forgive them a little bit in terms of that. Having heard what happened on the next Raw, it's full of holes. Like you said, it's really difficult as a fan to know it's not real. Try and suspend your belief because you're a fan and you want to try and act, to a certain extent. You have to try and buy into it, like a film. You don't think Tom Cruise is dead, but you've got to suspend your belief a little bit. But then when you're watching Stephanie cry at the end of a show...
Well, crying's...
Yeah. or whatever, I don't know what reaction... Are they trying to gain sympathy?
They've thought that the whole arena at that point will burst into tears.
And then Vince would have just said, and look, they should just said to Bruce Pritchard, I'm going to have to come back because they care about me so much.
Can you imagine there's one person in that arena who probably went to the bog before everything happened. They come back and go, what did I miss?
Vince is dead.
Vince is dead.
Well, that's the thing. Like I said, it's like a mythical, over-the-top character. This is Vince McMahon is a man. That is what he is.
I am a man.
He plays himself.
Yeah.
The character is true to life.
It is difficult, isn't it? Because I am very much of the belief that apart from some really ridiculously sensitive subjects, politically motivated races and that sort of stuff,
you can do everything.
I think you should be able to do pretty much anything in wrestling. And let's face it, we exist as a podcast because most of those things have been done badly.
Wrestling has no shame.
Yes, but I do take your point. I mean, it is difficult to do that as Vince McMahon, and even though it is difficult, they make it even harder.
Yeah, even harder for
the
themselves.
way that they book it. So we will take a chance to rebook it. But before we do, we always do it. You've obviously watched the whole show more than me.
Yeah.
So you have a whole show's worth of matches to pick from more than me. But match of the run.
Well, if they ain't going to be on that show, I'll go Matt Hardy Regal.
So will I.
I'm going to go for one just because he gave me a little bit of a tit myself. And that's the London Kendrick Will Greatest Tag Team because the network broke. It was very strange and I quite liked it.
What a quality of matches we had.
Worst match, we always do it. Worst match. I think I'm going to go with the Battle Royal because it was the main event of the show and it made no sense.
I'm going to go with a triple threat. It's so weird.
I'm going to go all bargain balls.
It was so offensive. MVP of Vince
MVP?
MVP.
Go on, he's done all right.
I'm going to stick to my guns and I'm going to say Slaughter. I loved that promo. I thought it was brilliant. It was so authentic.
I'll go for the limo driver. Just because of the state.
I'll tell you what, I'll go.
You put that man on telly.
Vince is probably.
I'll go with Vince because he had a good roar and then got out of there.
Got out of there. You should have saw him running off.
To be fair, and I'll give Coach credit because
he carries it a lot.
And Coach is good. Coach is very underrated for the character he played.
Although I did get confused by his thing because I went, oh yeah, that was that guy.
And LVP.
Well, there's a lot out there. I mean,
I'm going to still say London because as much as he kind of gets a little bit of sympathy, I think, from most like the snarky fans. And they go, such a shame. He wasn't for smiling for one, and two, he should be a little bit more professional. Yeah. I know he's bollocks. We all agree he's bollocks, but like, don't be a dickhead.
1 minute on camera.
Yeah, just look somber. So. Out of everyone, and there's a lot, I'm going to say London.
Well, Steph was awful. Right?
I didn't
Steph
see
was
Steph.
really bad.
So I might have
So
said Steph.
I am going to say Steph, but Santino has to be thrown in as well for being so lost.
I think that's true.
He was just called the Italian by William
in the
Regal.
icy
Oh,
top.
the Italian.
I'm back now.
I can't remember, so you'll have to remind me. Whoever won the match to get Tory?
MVP.
MVP, the
He called
LVP.
me the LVP.
You won a match.
Santino lost it. You should have said Santino.
Ah, fuck. MVP. There you go. Now that.
So, 2 hours in, we reach a mammoth rebooking, certainly for Jack. I've got like that amount of writing. Sam has no writing.
It's just in
it's more bigger writing.
bigger writing.
So I'm going to open with you, Jack, to give Sam as much time to ponder what
It's
he
still
will
gonna
be
be
doing
shit.
with his rebooking.
So, basically, Vince is going to do the usual going mad, but before the end of the show, he's going to be shown leaving,
Okay.
not at the end of the show. And everyone's lined up as usual as he's leaving.
Yep.
Then the main event battle royal will happen. And then they're going to cut to backstage of running and coach running. And Vince is found unconscious in a pool of blood in the parking lot.
You just stole what I was thinking of as you were talking.
So
I
Vince-
was about to this one.
Vince is unconscious in the parking lot. That's how Raw goes off. So the next Raw, there's various
So
shots.
you've rebooked the death of Vince McMahon to not be a death?
Well, the death will happen now.
Oh.
Or is it a death? Because Vince, the next Raw, there's various shots of the hospital room that Vince is in. You don't go in the room, but he's outside. You know, Todd can be talking. Oh, he's in there. He's fighting for his life. God damn it! And
This
various
would be an issue. What the hell are
superstars.
you doing?
Various superstars and authority figures are going to go in to see Vince. And at the end of the show, I'm going to have Todd reporting. And then doctors are going to rush in, and you're going to hear the flat line. Vince
It should have been
is dead.
Taz's theme. Taz's theme starts with the thing.
So Vince is dead.
Yeah.
So the company's handed down to Shane and Stephanie, which is as per Vince's will, which is in a will reading.
Yep.
They can have a little bit of comedy in there.
Yeah,
Everybody's
yeah,
there,
yeah.
are they? So there's a will reading. So the main suspects for it are the McMahons, Trump, Lashley, or etc. etc. Everybody was got a thing with Vince.
Trump.
So now Vince is dead, and he's a new figurehead for ECW because Vince was it.
Yep.
So Shane, as co-acting chairman, appoints Mick Foley as the new ECW GM. Coach is on Raw. He's as suspicious of everyone, right? Who carries a weapon.
Oh, okay.
So he
So they went to the
punishes no, because
Getting involved
he
there.
was left.
I love that
Okay.
Duggan's in
He's
there.
left in a pool of blood, wasn't he?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he was obviously hit in the head with a blunt object. So he
You got
punishes-
super kick someone in the head.
It punishes the Sandman.
Yeah.
For facing Umaga. He also punishes, obviously, as you have said, Hacksaw Jim Duggan has to get involved because I want Coach to be backstage, see Duggan, see a tiny bit of blood on the 2x4, and then Duggan goes, "That's the blood of Andre the Giant." Says when I took him down. That's brilliant.
You haven't cleaned
And
that
then he
since
fights him
1988.
So that's not the end of it, but that was all I wanted to do, really.
Yeah.
So I thought of Duggan. So things will settle down in the next couple of weeks and months and move forward without Vince. And over on ECW, Foley is drawn in by the luster and the lore of the ECW title, right?
Mm-hmm.
A title he never won, and he's disgusted by the actions of the champions in recent years, and is challenged by the new champion, ECW champion, John Morrison.
Are you still...
Benoit would have had
Okay.
the belt, but he's going to drop the belt to Morrison thanks to a
Okay.
heel turn by CM Punk.
Thanks
CM
to
Punk and
death.
Benoit. All feud. So he's going to fight Morrison at Armageddon. This is in December. And finally he's going to win the belt.
We're sort of
in
moving
December.
forward, yeah.
Also at Armageddon, Coach, after months, would claim that he knows, he's figured out who the culprit is behind Vince McMahon's
I did
demise.
it for the Rock.
And he's going to reveal it to the world at Armageddon.
Whoa.
Bring out Stephanie, accused of being the one who orchestrated the hit, and Triple H, who is WWE champion in my world. He never drops it to alternate
Oh, no
mercy.
mercy.
Well, he wins it and drops it.
He just wins it, no
no.
mercy, and keeps it. Orton never wins it. He just wins it in a match. As the one who executed the kill. So both of them would deny the allegations. So, as I've said, Triple H would have been world champion. So Triple H is stripped of the WWE title and suspended. And as a result, the number one contenders match later in the show, which was Triple H's Jeff. But
We're not going to arrest you and put you in jail or anything. We're just going to strip you of your belt.
Well, then the FBI can, investigate.
Oh, Dan, you're back.
And arrest him and all that shit. So Orton v Jeff is now for the title, and Orton would win the belt.
Yeah.
Edge in his return match, because I think he returned at Survivor Series. He's going to return at Armageddon and beat Batista for the World's Heavyweight Championship. The Royal Rumble, Cena's going to win.
Yeah.
And at the end of the Royal Rumble broadcast, Cena wins as normal.
Yeah.
I would want the flatline to appear on screen at the end.
She's like Bray Wyatt.
I know, and that's it. Just the flatline.
Okay.
Nothing else. The Raw in which Cena chooses his opponent at WrestleMania, where Foley's ECW, Edge is World, and Orton is WWE.
Yeah.
In the ring with Shane and Coach, who are also representative of the brands.
Yeah.
So Cena's about to choose his opponent when the lights are going to go out, and then on the trot, the flatline's going to appear again. And you know what's going to happen there? It's going to start beating again. He ain't fucking dead. No chance. Here comes Vince. He's back from the dead. He's not a zombie. He's got no grass on him or anything. He's going to grab the mic. I ain't fucking dead. He was in a coma, whatever. He faked his death after. He knows who's done it. He knows the one who orchestrated the attack. And he points. And he said Shane, obviously. And he also says Shane can't be working alone. He's not big. He doesn't big enough grapefruit backle to do it. So he had an accomplice, and at that point, from behind, Foley's going to lay out Vince with the ECW title. Cena's going to go for the save because he's still in the ring, but Edge is going to spear Cena.
Hang on. No.
Cena's what's the matter?
Cena ain't picking ECW.
Cena's going to go for the save to try and save.
I know,
Vince
but he ain't picking fighting Foley at Mania. That's the main event.
Edge spears Cena.
Okay.
And then Coach is shocked by it all. I don't know what to do. Orton's going to go to RKO because he's in the ring and he thinks, why not? I'm an hyper. But they stop.
Why not?
But they stop. And Coach laughs and all that. And then at the end, you're going to have Shane, Foley, Edge, Orton and Coach all stand tall over Vince and Cena. Right?
This is a baby face.
He's got to be a baby face. He can't come back from the dead a heel. Oh, I'm so disappointed you're not dead. He's got to be a baby face. So on ECW, Foley and Shane, I'm going to explain why they're doing it. So Shane was sick and tired of Vince, he's going crazy, he had to clean up all his messes.
Yeah, which he did with last
in the ECW title. And Foley was recruited by Shane because Shane explained to Foley how Vince has cheated him over the years and he's become a joke and desecrated the legacy of the ECW title, a company which Foley holds so dear. And Foley explains he didn't want to kill Vince, he just wanted to hurt him, he just wanted to hit him with a 2x back.
But he didn't anyway, don't worry.
He didn't want a barbed wire bat. But his sadistic side had come out, which is Cactus Jack, which he's going to morph into.
Dude, love
who now portrays. And Shane would state that I did want to kill Vince, but I wanted him dead. On SmackDown,
he did by the UFC.
Edge explains that he wasn't there from the beginning. He wasn't in on it from the beginning, right, of the plan of the death. He didn't know. But to his injury, when he was injured, Shane gets in touch with Edge while he's injured. And he explains the situation of he's done it and he's the mastermind behind it. And he said how Vince had ruined his life and Edge had got run into the ground by breaking his body down for the company. He's injured at the moment. And he says, if you stick with me, when you come back, we'll get a lighter schedule for you. We'll get the belt. We'll get you the belt after the big nasty animal Batista and all that. And, you know, you'll have a better career under Shane McMahon as chairman. Not Vince McMahon. Cena's going to come out. He's going to say, last Monday, he was going to choose Randy Orton. Not Foley, don't worry. For the title. But after Edge speared him and all that, and the history we've got, he's changed his mind. And at WrestleMania, I want you for the world title. But I can't wait till Mania. I'm going to fight you at No Way Out, which is what he chose. To avenge Vince. who's not in a coma again, but he's hurt.
Why are you attempting someone who's got
by DQ.
come back and he's dead again?
Oh, he's dead again!
How is he dead?
On Raw,
Kill him every week. Oh my God!
on Raw, Coach is going to explain how Vince had always belittled him and abused him throughout his tenure. I stood by him and he's pissed on me and everything. He's treating me like shit. He never
He
treats
shits on me.
me.
No, never
And
mind.
Randy explains how, like Edge, he wasn't there from the beginning, but Shane and Coach approached him, explained the situation, and all was told it was the golden child of WWE. But how many WWE titles had he won before then? 0. He'd had one World Heavyweight title, which outlasted a month, and who stopped him? The McMahons, Triple H.
Yes,
was a McMahon.
that's true. Yeah.
Nick Bob.
Bitch waffs, definitely. So because of that, Vince protected his guys, Cena, Triple H, all them sort of things. So there's an in-ring segment with Vince who calls out Shane. When Stephanie comes out as well. Stephanie tries to talk some sense into them all, because she's a co-chairman. And Shane lays out Vince, and then inadvertently lays out Stephanie as well, who I think is pregnant at the time, which I think adds more drama to it. Is what I want. I think she is pregnant at the time.
I think
isn't she, at this
so,
point?
Yeah, I mean,
So it's going to be a very light.
that's PG, mate.
We take PG. at this point.
No.
Lay out the pregnant woman. You've tried to kill a man. Go
And
full.
crucify the Sandman
Heel.
while you're at it.
Next week, Vince will be back, and he says that the board are worried about Shane basically as chairman.
Yeah.
And Stephanie's obviously co-chairman, but she's
Still in jail.
sidelined because she's pregnant and you've battered her. So through Shane's actions and maybe pregnancy,
Is Shane the father?
the board pick one. The board have put acting chairman for the foreseeable future,
Yep.
which is obviously
Donald
Vince
Trump.
McMahon. So Vince McMahon
Money,
has agreed only temporarily until WrestleMania to be the acting chairman, because he says at WrestleMania I want to make it right and I want to become chairman in the right way. In the ring, that's how we settle it. Vince and Shane in a Hell in a Cell I Quit match
Jesus.
for the control of the company.
Yes.
And he also says as
It's the
acting
bloodline.
chairman, he's got the power to do whatever. He's got the power to suspend people, but he's also got the power to unsuspend people. So Triple H is now unsuspended,
Yeah.
and he comes out and he does for Orton the big brawl. So Orton and that. There's a big brawl with Orton, Triple H, Cena, Edge, Foley, Shane, etc.
Yeah.
And Vince is going to announce the biggest world title match in the history of WrestleMania, because I'm back from the dead. It's going to be every title on the line in a 6-man tag. So it's Foley, Orton and Edge, from all the world champions, defended against Triple H, Cena, and they need a partner. It's not Vince, he's fighting Shane McMahon. It's Batista, who's written off at Armageddon, and he's back.
Okay.
Right?
Instead of
Now,
just fighting
unfortunately for
him,
Batista, he has to become ECW champion. Right? Because Cena's good for the world, Triple H is good for the...
I don't want it.
I'm like,
I don't want that one.
hardcore on
I want that one.
So at Mania, Vince is obviously going to win. And the
Has to be.
The faces prevail. But
That's to be Duggan.
no, this is where Duggan gets the last bit. Because the night after Mania, when everything's done, Coach is going to try and get back with Vince, saying he wore part of the attack. He was just sort of coaxed into it and lured into it. And he had to stick by Shane because he was the chairman, and he didn't mean anything by it. He was just trying to infiltrate his plan and see if he did it. And Vince, I ban that crap! And he says, you accused many people, and you've accused this man, and you've got to face him now. And it's Duggan. And Duggan, if you can beat him, you can get your job back. And Duggan comes out, and he beats Coach, and he does the hoe, and Vince is with Duggan in the ring, standing over Coach. End of
You know how
End
you
of
should have
storyline.
ended it, man. So you've done all that. Perfect ending. Mania's finished. Then the Raw after.
You should have had Duggan with
No, the Raw after it. You got Doug, you end. This is the shot I've
I
got in
wanted
my mind.
Sandman,
So
but Sandman
you've got the
is-
signature at the end. Raw's finished, right? And then you see Duggan holding the holding the 2x4 with the blood, And then he puts it to the side and he picks up a body and puts it into the boot. Serial killer Duggan. Robs itself. Because you never...
But I'd have to arrest him.
You shouldn't have even explained it was Andre's blood and left that there. Long-term storyline. He's a serial killer. That's it. You should have lifted zombie bit Linda into the truck.
Yeah.
He's going to take
Hang
out
on.
the
And then she bit him to make him a zombie. And you forgot him to make him a zombie.
He's right.
Shane Douglas. Nah, I had to end with Duggan and Vince standing over coach. That was in my mind, and I
Surely,
worked back
the way that you want to then quickly turn Vince heel because he should be heel, so he low blows Duggan. Obviously.
There's Vince Duggan. Now, and Vince would have fought Foley at nowhere. They've got to have a match.
Of course. So, my rebooking then. So, a few bits I've got to put in place for my storyline to work. So, as part of being in ECW, when he was the boss of ECW,
The boss.
he would become familiar with Layla. Who would flirt with Vince.
Does he get a little cash?
Obviously, much to the annoyance of Shane, because he wants him to focus on Ashley.
Because he wanted
But he would do his normal sort of, I've got a woman now, flirt with her. You know what it's like. You know what it's like. Oh, pal. But this time, he would become a little bit infatuated with her, so the power balance would be slightly more easy. It's not just lust. It kind of is. He's a bit in love with her Britishness. And I would have them regularly have tea together. Because we're British. We're British. I would love to see Vince having.
You're going to poison it with tea.
I want to see Vince with his big, massive mammoth arms with a little cup of tea. Yeah, well, there you go. During Vince's last match with Lashley at One Night Stand, it would be visually obvious during this match that Vince is just a bit different. He's just a bit more distant. He's a bit sort of like he's a bit shaky. He's a bit what's going on, and he loses his belt.
Shaky Stevens.
So, Layla would always be trying to help him. I'm concerned about your dad, and Shane be like, "Fuck him, he's got a fight."
He's got a belt,
and he's like, "I'm concerned about him when falling in love." So, listen, love, stay out of it. So Shane would be like, "Armhole, go on, get on your own."
On your way.
He wouldn't be very happy, but she would be saying, "Look, I'm Vince's friend. I'm concerned with his
He gave me
well-being."
So she would say, "Look, he's a powerful man. He's feeling a bit fragile. You should do something to help." So Shane would arrange the Vince McMahon Appreciation Night. So I wouldn't have the draft at the same night because it's convoluted enough, and it would be a way of showing Vince that he's got a lot of friends, and and obviously this is also Shane trying to say you don't need Layla as a friend. You've got a lot of friends. But this would massively backfire because obviously all his friends would say he's a shitty.
Could you have him in like a party hat and a cake in front of him?
That's
No
what I mean.
one round.
I want him to be like, I'm looking forward to what nice Stone Cold, who's stunned me millions of times, is going to say about me, and what Bret Hart, who I'm sure is fond of me. And he's hiding behind the sofa. Did you just see his party hat? That'd be the best thing. But yeah, so. It's more about people taking shots at him because they perceive his weakness, and this is how they're going to break him down. So throughout the show, he just breaks down mentally. The last promo would be exactly the same. When he drops the mic, though, Layla would rush out and start trying to get him out. When she goes through the locker room, she'd start screaming at people, saying, "Look, I know you all don't like him, but he's a broken man. He's a shame for him, and he's had enough."
Oh, shit.
So she'd redirect him. I like the spot where he was going to go the wrong way because I want that spot to exist. So she'd direct him to where the limo is.
To the right way.
Yeah. We'd cut backstage and see Vince entering the limo, which cuts for a second back to Layla, who's rushing out to meet him. I don't know. I can explain. I don't know.
She just saw Val.
Yeah. Just get have a word with Val. Just need a shit.
Hold on. I need a shit.
And then it cuts back, and we immediately see the limo go up in flames, and Layla's all, I'm so sad.
Really?
So he's dead. So the weeks after, we're told no one was found in the wreckage, but it was a wreckage, and there was Vince McMahon DNA and I wonder where they got that DNA from. Everywhere.
There's a lot of that.
There was shit everywhere.
There's a lot of his DNA.
I wouldn't do the sham tributes because to me it's a bit sort of too near the mark. And plus, I have just spent the last show having everyone telling me shit.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have that. I would have that Stephanie saying Vince would want the show to go on as the way that they explained that, right? So over the next few weeks, Shane and Stephanie would start arguing over who's going to run the show after, obviously, Vince is announced as dead. Stephanie and Shane would immediately forgive Layla, though. So we're going to move Layla away a little bit, as Vince is declared perished. He's dead. He's declared
you chairman.
So leading up to SummerSlam, the angle would be around the will. And who now will Vince leave the WWF to?
Linda.
Of course, it's Layla who's in sole control.
Shame.
And I want her to be almost Miss Elizabeth kind of, oh, I didn't want this. It's such a shame. So for a few weeks, she'd be like, I don't want to run this, you know. And Stephanie and Shane at this point are like, give it to me then, or give it to me. No, he would have wanted it that way. He was a bit mental.
I'm going to give it to his brother Rob.
So she would start getting them sort of playing on her and stuff like that. Eventually, Layla would agree that she cannot lead the WWF. And since having her control, Edge and Cena are out injured.
Yeah.
Shane and Stephanie would play on her, saying, "Look, you know, this is because we haven't got clear leadership. This wouldn't have happened under Vince. Wouldn't have happened if one of us was running it." Both of them trying to do it. Layla would decide to appoint a new CEO of WWF to act on her behalf, so she's not giving up power.
William.
It's William Regal. Brrr, brrr.
The British.
Yes. So
With his weird
Regal, Regal and Layla. Regal would always be polite and nice to Layla. He's British. You trust me, love.
Yeah.
You trust me, love. I'll look after you.
I like
But
tea.
he would be the biggest bastard, bigger and nastier and eviler than Vince. He would mainly target Triple H and Batista on both shows. I suppose whoever CM Punk maybe on ECW if he was still on ECW at that point. So he's got his three main Stone Cold-esque people that he's fucking over, stopping and winning the belts. He'd have his favourites in Edge and Orton, but predominantly I want him to be completely self-serving, absolute shit. I don't necessarily think he needs to chase the title because to Regal having the power is more than having the title anyway.
Yeah.
So I'd want him to be completely out for himself. Throughout this, Layla would start to tease to Regal that this just doesn't feel right, and Regal would be like, just look, trust me, you're a millionaire now, you own the company, fine, you've got everything that you ever wanted, I've given you everything that you ever wanted, and Layla's like, I don't think this is right. And eventually, because of his sadism and brutality, she would decide that this can't continue. Regal would say, look, I just want to remind you, my contract's watertight. You know, you can't fire me, even as the owner, I'm the CEO. You agreed that I'm staying no matter what. Layla wouldn't care. You're not going to stop me doing what I need to do anymore. Regal knocks her out. Proper bosser in the
Boss, yeah.
Cena, Royal Rumble, Cena wins it as normal. Regal's angry about this because he's had control. He's put Orton or anyone who's not a title person right at the end. The last person just happened to be Cena.
Yeah.
We'll just say that Layla did that or whatever. And he's won it. So he gets into a mini feud with him. At No Way Out, he cost Cena his shot against Edge.
Yeah.
As he did lose, didn't he?
He lost to Orton.
Or Orton, whatever it was, yeah. However, Layla would return with Vince McMahon.
Oh!
Yes, he would be back. But I want him to be fully bearded up. Like, you know when Foley was found when he lost consciousness in WCW and he was like, he thought he was a pirate or whatever.
Oh, God.
I want him to be full, like, basically, disheveled. So, it would transpire that Regal planned on drugging Vince, faking the death tape, and then he's been hiding Vince
In his basement.
But I'm going to add a bit of humour because he's been hiding him in England and convincing him he's part of the royal family. so I would have skits at the little things of Vince thinking he was Duke McMahon and stuff like that, fully dressed up
with a big beard.
Because I think that'd be brilliant. But he's out of his drug state now because Layla said, "I'm not drugging him with his specialty anymore," and he's out for Regal's blood. However, he's got no control over WWE because it's watertight. She's signed it off. So. Obviously, the ownership of WWE goes back because there's no will anymore. Vince now owns WWE, but Regal is the CEO. Regal agrees that we need to sort this out because, it can't work. So, he agrees to a match at Mania against a McMahon. And if he can beat him, he'll agree to give up his CEO position. So Vince would agree to it, but he would say, "I'm not fighting Vince McMahon now. I want to fight. You're going to have to choose between the two kids that you just saw wrestle over."
Oh, he's got another kid.
So it's either Shane or Stephanie. Shane would be like, "Well, I don't get nothing out of this," and Vince would be like, "You got to be you. I can't let him fight Stephanie." And Shane would eventually sort of like have Vince over a barrel and go, "All right, then I'll fight him, but I want certain provisions." Then Regal would beat the shit out of Shane. He's out of it. So Regal's happy now. He's fighting Stephanie at Mania. That's it. He's done. But 2 weeks before Mania, the end of Raw will be Linda coming into Vince and saying, "Look, maybe we should tell the kids." No,
we've got another song.
So the week before, Regal thinks he's got everything. Stephanie's all meek and shit, I'm gonna have to fight the evil bastard. You see what he did to Layla? He knocked her head off. But Vince would come out and he'd say, "Look, they want to tell Stephanie this way, but I've got an illegitimate, I'm not going to say bastard son, but I have an illegitimate child, and me and Linda have agreed to give him the McMahon name. It is, of course, Mr. Kennedy McMahon, Mr. Kennedy, who comes out." That match would be set. Kennedy would beat Regal at Mania, but then it would play into Vince now seeing Kennedy as his favourite son, which would start to piss off Shane and Stephanie, and can tie in Triple H and turn them both heel and move us away from the death of Vince McMahon.
Layla.
Yeah, I'll give Layla a rub.
They're going to be front.
I'll give Regal. I mean, Regal needs to be first and centre. Plus, Duke Vince.
That's brilliant, that was. It's in Vince.
I just want to see him at
Paddington Vince.
I want to see him at Buckingham Palace looking all crazy.
Can you
like
have him
China.
wandering around like with tubes?
Yes, I mean, it would be brilliant if it's a football match. That would be brilliant. Eating jelly deals at Upton Park, celebrating when Arsenal score in the West Ham end. Getting a black eye.
No, in Newcastle he tried to buy him a couple of times.
That'd be brilliant.
Why?
Right, well, there's a few ideas for you.
Right,
Duggan, or Layla.
Right.
You pick.
Or Layla. Right, okay. So, the beginning of it is the McMahon Appreciation Night.
Yep.
And obviously, it's still a draft, but they carry on. I am really working on the fly here. They would carry on, but then after the Battle Royal, they would say, "Okay, Kennedy's come out and he's there." But then you'd hear the commentators go, "Hang on, there's something going on backstage. Sorry, I'm going to nick some of Jack's."
Yeah.
So they go backstage and they see Vince is laid out because he's already gone mad, and then he's laid out.
Yeah.
Backstage, and they go, "Oh, what's happened? What happened?"
Yeah.
And he goes off the air with Vince just lying there, maybe in one of the positions.
And then the next week, it can just be the outline.
Yeah.
Everybody meets at it.
On SmackDown, they announced that Vince is okay. He's stable in hospital.
Okay.
I'm not killing him.
Okay.
But he's in hospital.
Man contains no
death. I'm not killing him. He's in hospital.
Well, do we have
killed him? He's not officially dead. He's just everybody thinks.
Yeah,
he's dead.
well, he's there, but they ain't sure what's going to happen. So I'm going to make an announcement on the state of the company, which it's in a state, on the following Raw.
And it just
it is. So they make an announcement, and you can have it where they go,
Well, Vince has left like a will or a statement of, if I can't run the company, here's what's happening.
Just left a Jack Tony. They haven't updated it for years.
Sam, you
And he's been dead. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
the trick here.
Don't tempt me.
Get
But what you can do is in the like it's like in a boardroom. You can do it backstage in a boardroom. You got Vince, not Vince because he's in hospital. You got Shane, Linda, and all these other random suits and lawyers.
Dogging in a suit with a 2x4 with a bow tie.
Jack Toddy's ghost
in a suit but still his blue trunk.
Still in blue trunk. But you got the bloke there reading inside. Vince is gonna, in the event that he can't, run the company, he's gonna leave it to his favourite child, and then obviously Stephanie and Shane are gonna look at each other. Mr. Kennedy. So he comes in and obviously he's still in the suit, and they knew in the background that he was his son. And then they explain, okay, he found out that he got a son. He kept it from the family because he thought, with the fact that Shane and Stephanie tried to go against him with WCW and ECW, that he thought the only child he could trust was Kennedy.
Trust me, what?
Tie back to
Paul Linda never is left with fuck all, is she?
She can still run part of it, but
all she got was the old WrestleMania theme.
Yeah.
It's a good trade.
It is. So Kennedy's going to run the WWE for the foreseeable. Shane obviously ain't happy about it. But obviously Stephanie's pregnant. Just book her off for a bit. Go away. You'll be useful later.
You see the state of the roster. You can have it.
Who's that? Super crazy. Who are you?
They can have Kennedy and my first out. Super crazy fat.
But obviously he's very tyrannical. He's trying to
like Vince.
Yeah. And then at SummerSlam he fights Shane because obviously Shane said, "Well, I'm actually his legitimate son. You're his bastard." So they have a match and Kennedy would win because of interference. But then the interference would be because he had because Alejandro Estrada would join him because Umaga was with them. So obviously he's still loyal to him because he did Umaga to Vince. Yeah. It wasn't for Shane, he was just there, but it was mainly for Vince. So Umaga would sort of be around. He'd be the monster that Kennedy would go, well, I fought, here's Umaga. Give him a push, God, I really am working on the fly here. So that would carry on.
Get Vince back.
Now, but he would just mess with all the faces. Yeah. And then at Survivor Series, instead of Edge being announced when... Is it Vicky's saying at this point?
No, that's
the following year.
I don't know who announced it. Was it Vince?
It was taken me Batista and Edge for it as well.
Yeah. But at this point, he would just come out in the middle of the match and say, well, I'm joining this now. He would win the WWE title. I can't remember what that match was, but he would insert himself. Yeah. He would win the title at Survivor Series and keep it till Mania. More on that. At the Rumble, Cena would come back and win, but Kennedy would say, you can fight any champion except me.
Oh, yeah.
You can fight whoever, world or whatever, or if he wins the world, whatever. So Cena can fight Orton if you want to carry that on, or what have you. And Kennedy's just like, well, nobody's facing me. I choose who I fight. So, you're just a peon. I own this company. So, whatever. Triple H would come back at Mania. Because what would happen is Stephanie would come back and say, well, you am the WWE champion, so technically you've got to have a match. I've got someone who you can fight, and he'd be Triple H.
Really?
And that's how I would do it, really. He's just power mad in the middle of it, and have him make himself win the belt at Survivor Series. Rumble, he just says, you call fight me, I pick it. And he can do his thing with Flair, because I think he did that at No Way Out,
Yeah,
he fought Flair saying, well, I'm the champ now, why not? You can get, trying to manipulate him, you could get, your 17 run. But obviously, if I beat you, you're out. But
That
he
means
would
he
lose
would-
by like count out or something like that. There's
Okay.
some, you know, lots. Or, you know, no, Kennedy would lose by DQ or something because of Margaret. So Flair would win, but he wouldn't win the belt and stuff. And
Flair
Kennedy would go, well, you know, never mind.
Where's Vince?
Vince would come back. Yeah, actually,
It's a very good point, really.
he would come back, I think, around No Way Out as well. And he would still be in it saying, well, you know,
Where have you been?
yeah. And he just said, well, I wanted to see, that what a real McMahon would do with the company because I can't trust Shane Stephanie. And then maybe at Mania you could do Vince v Shane as well on the undercard or something.
So Vince has come back and he's with Kennedy.
He's still with Kennedy. It was all a plan all along, and obviously
why don't you just give it then?
Huh?
He didn't have to die.
No, it's a way of him announcing that he got another child.
Yeah.
And the fact that obviously he still never forgot the fact that Shane and Stephanie sold their stock to Flair, so you can tie that in as well.
Yeah.
So the alliance actually plays a part in this, Tommy.
I think that's a good link, but it does. I think what this does prove is that sometimes it's better to write your rebookings down.
Yes, it does.
Again,
I was like,
known to do.
It is tough. It is tough rebooking.
It is tough, but
How can I rebook this?
It is hard because it's just not in the realms of what you would normally rebook within wrestling.
Yeah,
but
but still, we still have to do it.
Well,
That
we do. But
it's like, where do you start?
it is.
That's why
You could start with an exploding limo, but I get your point. It is. It is tough. Like I say, it is.
At least do it.
It is tough to rebook something that doesn't normally exist.
and it
within
don't
wrestling.
go anywhere anyway.
Because and you've got no end point to work from to rectify.
Yeah, so
You just
you've got
actually.
nothing to sway. Yeah, so
you've got the beginning of the story.
Well, you
where
got
the
yeah,
whole thing.
you got Doug in it involved.
2 angles.
He got Layla.
Yeah, I got the Queen involved. But if you feel that there was another way to rebook the death of Vince McMahon, and I'm sure some people would love to rebook or fantasize about the death of McMahon, let us know on our website, which is bettercallcreative.org, our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/BCCpod, or our Twitter, which is @BCCpod. Give us a follow then. We round out the episode, and it has been a mammoth one, as we always do, with a fantasy card, or in this case, 6 fantasy deaths. We are going to fantasize about ways to kill off wrestling superstars or gimmicks in the most comedic way possible. In honour of Vince McMahon dying in an exploding limousine. Did we all get 6 of some form or fashion?
Yeah.
I think I'll open with you then, Sam, seeing as you wrote yours, the most recent.
Most recent. First one, Shane McMahon by Quad Tear. Because he goes all the way up.
So when he said, "Are you alright, cuz?" he wasn't.
He's still lying there, sweaty as head.
Well, my first one is Luchasaurus by an asteroid. Because he's a dinosaur! Everybody kill the dinosaur.
It's kill switch.
Bugger. Boston Bugger, obviously, is just overeat. And he's died of too much food.
He should have done the opposite. You should have done him thinner.
No, it should have been by a botched gastric band.
Maybe that then. Botched gastric band, I'll write it down.
Lovely. Poor bugger.
Right, my next one, Tony Khan.
You'll bet you fantasise about this.
I'm not allowed to say NDA.
But you'll show it on
show it
on Rampage. Show it on Rampage to boost the ratings.
There you go.
My next one is Rene Dupree was bullied to death by Hardcore Holly.
I killed you.
You think a lot of people do.
Well, I didn't want to say the tough enough guy because he's dead.
He's dead.
Poor Rene.
Jimmy Hart.
Yes.
It's just his megaphone's going to explode
Oh.
in his face when he's talking to Greg.
I thought Greg.
His face will fall off.
He would suffocate up the arsehole of Hogan.
That's dumb.
That's next. No one would tell him. He could move in up there. He could move in. Or...
It's like one of them Russian nesting dolls. He's got Hogan, then Dobbs, then Brutus.
There ain't no way Hogan isn't the biggest babushka doll.
Of course. Next one, tail off of my poop.
Just poop.
Just poop.
He died by poop.
Either a river of poop or when he's unblocking the toilet, he falls in and drowns in his own poop.
Red rooster mauled by a fox.
Not a chicken.
That ties into the ECW one we did. Jack Victory shits himself to death.
How on? He don't ever come out, Devo. Come on, Jack. Come on.
And he's dead. And the toilet full of shit.
But Devon and Bubba still take the money.
Still take the money.
We did it. We took him out.
He pooped himself to death. My next one, Captain Lou. Alcohol poisoning.
Oh, God. It was pretty a sad day. Well, he is dead, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
He might have died through alcohol poisoning. Who knows? My next one. Deuce and Domino in the Grease car fight. They would die with their.
They were going to start to fly and then fall.
I thought you were going to say death by the 60s.
No, they would get killed by the Scorpions, the evil gang from Greece.
Oh, bastards.
Ba-ba-da-bum.
With the scabby face.
Chuck Palumbo. He's going to come out on his bike and the brakes aren't going to work and he's going to drive into the ring. And die. And Jamie Neville's going to stood in the ring waiting for his match.
Who am I going to feud with now?
Oh, that's my push gone. Next one, Sid. Softball to the head.
Softball acid.
Yeah, of course.
My next one, Coco Beware, bird flu.
Mauled by parrot. Bird flu.
Malpinus.
Oh, God.
Name your poison.
You can move on now.
Erectile dysfunction.
Overdose on Viagra.
He become a
I thought it'd be syphilis, but hey,
STD.
Pick one. And my final one is Bulldog and Sting was investigating the boat and it blew up. Dead by me.
When they come out, we go, yeah, we're not dead. No, they didn't.
Instead of Bulldog jumping on Sting, that just was there going, what's that? Boof!
That would have been a brilliant end to that video. Sid invaded. We killed
Good to the pay-per-view and just stand there waiting.
And then the cops arrest them and they have no main event scene.
WCW.
Mine features Surfer Sting, but he would be eaten by a shark, I've put. It could be the shark. It could be a shark. But at least both of us have killed off Surfer Sting, and I'm satisfied that's a good end to
I like Surfer Sting, but that's the first one off the whole.
Are you going to kill him?
El Matador. Possessed bull.
Come on. No, Jesus, we're tying that back to a very, very... The very first.
Yeah, but in my rebooking, El Matador kills the possessed bull, which is not an honourable death. In this, Papa Shango's possessed bull actually kills El Matador.
This is
Papa
the
Shango
story.
Then comes out into the arenas all the time on the possessed bull. That's his new manager.
Oh, God.
R.I.P. Vince.
Papa Shango kills El Matador.
Poor Tita.
It's the way you would have wanted it. It was Tita.
But if you can think of any unique ways to kill off a WWE or wrestling character, let us know on our Facebook, which is facebook.com. It's /BCC pod. Twitter, which is @BCC pod. Or our website, where you can find all our back catalogues, which will explain why Jack Victory is coming out of a toilet and why El Matador is being killed by a possessed bull. And that is at bettercallcreative.org. Right then, Sam, you've had to sit through the death of Vince McMahon. You have all the power now, and my God, your choice is the most craziest choice we ever thought, because Sam has found a JCW show that is intrigued enough to want to watch. It is.
I've got my binge moment. Thank you. Exploding level.
Sam's flat's going to explode tonight. But if he does survive the night, we will be watching JCW's Legends Night, is it, or something like
Legends and Icons.
Legends and Icons 2011. That will open up the month of June, and we've just got to get back to I don't know what we're doing after that, to be honest. I haven't actually decided where we'll be going after that. So, do join us back for Sam's podcast and birthday podcast in the start of June. Now we can breathe. That leaves me to say, from Steve-O himself, it's Jack Chance.
Good boy.
And from Captain Lou, Captain Sam.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, folks.
I'm a scat man. I'm a scat Everybody stutters one way or the other, so check out my message to you. As a matter of fact, I don't let nothing hold you back. If the scat man can do it, so can you. Everybody's saying that the scat man stutters but does and never stutter when he sings. But what you don't know, I'm gonna tell you right now that the stutter and the scat is the same thing. Yo, I'm the scat man. Where's the scat man? I'm the scat man. Why should we be pleasing any politician reasons who would try to change the seasons if they could? The state of the condition insults my intuition and it only makes me crazy and hard like wood. Everybody stutters one way or the other, so check out my message to you. As a matter of fact, don't let nothing hold you back. If the scat man can do it, brother, so can you. I'm the scat man. Everybody stutters one way or the other, so check out my message to you. As a matter of fact, I don't let nothing hold you back. If the scat man can do it, so can you. I hear you all ask out the meaning of scat. Well, I'm the professor and all I can tell you is why you're still sleeping, the saints are still weeping, because things you call dead haven't yet had the chance to be born. I'm the scat man. Where's the scat man?